The college football experience week 2 preview and picks episode of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And make sure to enter the free roll football contest. Up to $3,500 in prizes is up for grabs. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll to enter today. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience week 2. Put your W's up. Week 2 preview and picks. Oh boy. Crack that cold one. I'll crack a cold one too. YouTube.com/the college experience. We're all having fun over here after just an onslaught of football games throughout the week. Ending last night with a Golden Eagle. Or wait, they're not the Golden Eagles, right? They're just the Eagles, right? No, they're the Golden Eagles, right?
Yeah,
they're the Golden Eagles.
Yeah, UCF's got you messed up.
They got me all fucked up. Every gold, yeah. Yes. Look, so we had just a slew of great games. We're going to talk about them all and obviously highlight the week 2 action, which has I think week 2 is better than week 1 as far as actual big games that actually mean a little bit more to me. NC Nick, you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think week 1, while it looked pretty good on paper, a lot of the big time games didn't deliver. And a lot of the, close calls were the upset, like a big upset, like Idaho against Oregon. They had a chance to pull it off. The favorite, pulled away or won late. So, it was just still, it's a great week 1, but it could have been better.
Yeah, true. And I'm sorry. I haven't done our introductions yet. So I'm already fucked up here. I got up. Yeah, I'm all over the place. Typical. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dad, AKA Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
He's the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
Yes, you know who definitely pissed in someone's campfire this weekend? Diego pissing Pavia. All right, watch out, Virginia Tech. He'll show up by your poolside.
That's right.
With $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
He definitely pissed in Virginia Tech's fire big time this weekend.
You know who else has a fistful of pesos is one Pick Dundee after calling that money line play.
I did. There you go. All summer people were telling me, Colby, you can't take Vanderbilt money line. They're Vanderbilt, right? Well, let me tell you something. Vanderbilt's been piss poor at football for a long time, but they'd never had pissing Pavia on their team. Watch out, SEC. 1 week into the SEC, and he's SEC Player of the Week. Took a piss all over your conference. All right, you got Texas and Oklahoma coming in. That's small potatoes to Diego pissing Pavia. Am I right?
That's right.
Am I right?
Got
right?
A lot of mojo. It's amazing what happens when you got some mojo at the quarterback position. All of a sudden, Vanderbilt kicking playoff contenders supposedly's ass.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and
pretty impressive.
They say they're still contenders. We'll see about that. I'm joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh. Well,
let's get it going, buddy.
Yeah,
Week
boy.
2. Got some rivalry games. Some games that mean something. All right.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like this week's slate a little bit better.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. And we're joined by third man in the booth, the DFS god himself. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, the free lot giving, farmer, earned the basketball league MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's up, guys? Colby bringing the energy today, man. You just like chug a Red Bull or something? Well,
I've been I've been having a lot of coffees today. All right. Driving around LA, listening to this song, just blasting this on the 405 freeway. You know what I mean?
Hey man,
got a convertible, dropping the top.
bringing LA back to what it should be.
That's exactly what Bosworth was exactly what LA
Apparently,
should
didn't
be.
Bosworth use a party hard in like Malibu?
I did hear a few stories. I did hear a few stories in my travels.
Well, Stone Cold might have been the best movie of the '90s, you know. So he was doing it right.
If you haven't seen that, folks, to the youth out there, look, I watched the newest Beverly Hills Cop. No, all right. I watched, any of this new shit sucks. Let's be honest, right? Surprise, surprise. Pick Dundee on some old school shit. But I will say this: I like the new Mad Max. All right, I like the new Mad Max. I forget the name of it. Was it?
It's funny because you didn't like
not
Glory
Fury.
Road, or Fury Road. You didn't like that one.
No, I did.
You did?
I like both.
I remember you
yeah.
complaining about the guy on the front of the truck playing the guitar.
What? I think you got me confused.
No, I'm 100% sure.
Dude, I liked it. I saw that at a movie theater in Raleigh, North Carolina. I had seen Nick sitting there.
I liked it too. I'm not giving you. I mean, I just.
Yeah. I always liked it. What are you talking about? You're wrong. Wrong. You're wrong here. Just like your Virginia Tech play. Wrong. All right.
Fair. Deserve that one.
Guys, you know what else you're wrong with, Patty? See, you had Florida State winning the ACC.
Woo!
And after week 1, we thought maybe
That ship has sailed.
woo. I mean, Boston College, NC Nick. I'll ask you first: is Northeast football back?
Potentially, but no. First off, I feel sorry for Florida State. I mean, all the Florida State fans in the school, they were right. They do need more money. They need Big Ten or SEC money in order to be able to compete with the likes of Boston College or Georgia Tech. So maybe they have a point. But great win for Boston College, and look, I mean, everybody is. I mean, all the tweets and everything. I mean, we're having a whole lot of fun with Florida State starting 0-2. And I love the one tweet by somebody who said teams suing the ACC are currently 0-3. Teams not suing the ACC are like 15-2 or something. So a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, what a statement game for Bill O'Brien. Patty C, you know, I know you're just the shoe fit O'Brien back in Boston, but
That's right.
This makes me weary of how good Georgia Tech is, to tell you the truth, because I was like, wait, they went into Tallahassee. The Georgia Tech game was neutral territory in Dublin, Ireland, right? Like this one, they went into Tallahassee and fucking destroyed them on the line of scrimmage.
A Florida State team that had to be mad as hell about the previous week. It wasn't like Florida State was like taking the week off.
Yeah.
They were probably fired up and trying to get it done. Maybe they were heartbroken.
What were the rushing stats? I should have this prepared and I don't, which is just on par with the show. But I'm just saying, it was like 200 and something to like 30. I'm trying to grab this thing right now, but just to do that in Tallahassee. Shout out to Noah Beanick on the boards. Yeah, this guy said he was going to eat dog shit out of a red Solo cup with a spoon, and he has since deleted his Twitter account. Patty C, I was wondering if this was perhaps you.
Well, I learned my lesson.
Werner?
I learned my lesson when it came to Tecmo Super Bowl a long time ago, and mine wasn't to eat shit. But it was similar. Go listen to the
Patreon
Patreon to get the rest of that story.
Colby, 263 yards to 21.
Oh my God. Let me tell you something. If Boston College goes into your house and does that, we got to talk. We got to react to this, guys, because coming up, they have Memphis, who was better than Boston College last year and probably better this year. They have Cal, who has one of the best running backs in the nation, who did look a little shaky against an FCS, but still they were a bowl team a season ago. They have SMU, with George Bush and all Saudi Arabia Tech down there, right? And
we got State versus Tech. All right,
State versus Tech in that one. And then you have Clemson. Wait, am I forgetting one? I might be forgetting one. But anyway, my point is, where the hell are the wins here on this remaining schedule here, NC Nick? And should are we at DEFCON 5 here? Because home to Memphis, home to Cal, at SMU, home to Clemson. Then they have a bye week. Then at Duke, at Miami, home to North Carolina, at Notre Dame. They do get Charleston, very SEC move, putting Charleston Southern on the schedule on November 23rd. And then home to the Florida Gators on the 30th. I'd say Charleston and Florida look like the most winnable games on here.
Well, they don't have much, behind DJU, so I don't see a reason to bench him because I don't think you have anybody else better to play quarterback.
Look, he's played like trash, like that wide open receiver in the end zone he airmailed.
Yeah,
but it's not all him. The offensive line and defensive line suck ass.
Yeah,
and
particularly the defensive line. And
they were supposed to be good. The offensive line returned 3 starters. They got a starter from Florida. Hell, Phil Steele had it as the 5th best offensive line in the country, and they're not opening up, running lanes whatsoever.
Well, I don't get
defensive line, the same thing. So the line play's been awful. It's not just DJU, but it's still a lot on him as well. And then you wonder. I mean, look, they brought in 17 transfers. They brought in 23 freshmen. So they got 40 new players. So where is the leadership in that locker room? All these transfer people that got paid. Do they care? Do they give a shit about Florida State?
That's going to be the new side of this too. Is like the players that got paid, you're already paid. It's not like you get paid quarterly.
Yeah,
it's like you just get your money and you go there.
Yes. Look, this is basically
every year's a contract year, probably.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of contract years, I mean, this is basically a professional football league now, or a professional sport, and you always want the player trying to earn the contract, not. Usually they don't produce quite as good when they've already gotten paid, and that could apply. And that's with grown men, not 19 and 20-year-olds.
Well, we saw Thomas Castellanos. Did you see his post-game interview?
Yes, he has to go to school the next day. Right?
Yeah, I think it was a shot at Florida State. No, I actually got to go to school tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. You look at this remaining schedule, though. If you can't beat Boston College at home, and like I said, this wasn't even close. This was an ass whooping.
Yeah, thorough. And
where the fuck are the wins? Even if they get it together, like where are the wins?
I still think they can cobble together probably a 500 record or close to it. Maybe a game less or a game more. But it looks, I mean, these 2 games to start the season, they were supposed to be wins, obviously. So
Daniel in the chat, shout out to Daniel. Go back to that now if you can. Memphis, Cal, Duke, but like Memphis and Cal are better than Boston College. You know what I mean? Like North Carolina and Florida are better than Boston College.
Memphis was what 10-3 last year. Boston College 7-6 or 6-7. What was Boston College?
7-6 or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I would say
Boston College was not. They didn't play an FBS in the Power 5. They shouldn't have been a bowl team last season. You know what I mean? They should not have. Like they didn't play a Power 5 in the non-con.
Yeah.
So like my point is Boston College was not like they're worse in those programs. Now maybe Bill O'Brien comes in and ignites that, but I tend to think
Boston
Memphis is on another level of athlete.
Cal is probably comparable to Boston College last year. I would say Memphis probably a little bit better than Boston.
I would say Cal played in the Pac-12, so much better than the ACC was last year.
Sure, but
so like I don't know.
And what did Cal go bowling last year?
Yeah, and look, shout out to they did.
Yeah.
Bina, can you play that thing, or is that going to get us in trouble? Anyway,
it'll be copyright.
Yeah, don't play it then. Okay. I mean, I just wonder. I don't know that 6 wins are on this schedule.
Well, look, SMU, let's be honest, did not impress week 1 against Nevada.
But Nevada since looked good. They won at Troy.
Yes,
I'm thinking like, okay, maybe Nevada's actually a good team.
Sure, but do you take anything? What was it, 55-7 against, or 59-7 against?
No, Houston Christians. They're like the worst FCS. Yeah,
you can't take anything from that. So, but still,
I cashed on SMU though. Thank you. Look, I will donate to the next Desert Storm that we have. Thank you, George W. and all your lobbying for the ACC. Folks, want to talk more about everything, but want to tell you before we do that, at the College Football Experience. It's part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. The Sports Gambling Podcast is back, picking every NFL game against the spread like they've done since 2011. Plus, make sure to enter the free roll football contest, up to $3,500 in cash up for grabs. Sign up at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/free roll. All right, we are back. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, let's talk about the other side of this, because since then we have North Carolina Central did win the Orange Blossom Classic. Shout out to Central. We all picked that correctly. MEAC represent. But also, how about, were we all on USC? I think we all were on USC, right?
No, I was on LSU.
Ooh.
I was on USC in the over though.
Yeah. How about that? What'd you guys take? Obviously that game was a good game, even though it was at that filthy stadium. But
I don't remember the number, but I'm guessing the over did not hit.
No, I don't think the over did.
No,
yeah.
no.
But shout out to Virgil giving us $5 as well.
Boom.
Appreciate you. We are Penn State. Great fucking performance there.
We were all wrong on that one.
Yeah, actually, like I was thinking of like the ones that I really felt like if someone asked me like what were the ones you were most wrong about, like Penn State would be one.
Maryland.
Nah, because I don't think I had that much conviction to that.
I locked it, but it wasn't like one of my favorite locks, but still.
That's
bad
I
play.
mean, I thought UConn would cover that, but I didn't like, if you told me, I'd be like, oh, okay, you know, it's UConn. They've given us 70-point losses before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Penn State one was super fucking impressive to me. And then probably
someone
Miami.
made a good point. That crowd, that advantage that was probably supposed to be there for West Virginia, probably got destroyed with that 4-hour delay.
Well, and playing that early.
And
Fox fucked them there. Play that at a night game, but still, Penn State was whooping their ass. They would have won anyway. But
yeah,
still,
the interesting thing was that usually home field advantage means so much in college football. But if you look at the A&M loss, the Florida loss, the West Virginia loss, I was on all three of those home teams, and it didn't matter. It didn't do a damn thing.
Connor
so
Wegman.
I tend to think though that's not a trend that's going to continue. I tend to think this week you'll see home field matter.
Yeah, I think you're right. Shout out to all right. Oh yeah, that's true. That's the third one I was going to say, believe it or not. Yeah. I was thinking about making notes about this while you're driving in LA or sitting in traffic. It was actually not Miami. That was the two that I thought of were Penn State and Arizona State. Because holy shit, did Arizona State, like that one I'm still confused by, because I look at Arizona State last season and I thought they fought for their coach, but I just thought they didn't really have any talent. Right. And then they lose BJ Green, who I thought was one of their better defensive linemen, to Colorado. Jaden Rashada heads out to Georgia. And I'm like, yeah, this team. And then I look at what they brought in the portal and I'm like, yeah, I don't think they really did that much in the portal. That game was over within like 5 minutes.
Yeah. What was it? The second
pick six on like the first or second play of the game. And then, Wyoming they're not a team that battles back from big leads.
Yeah. Not their DNA.
Yeah. But then that one, I actually think, because I think that's the most shocking of them all, because I really believe
we went against the commandments there. Yeah. That you take Wyoming as a home dog. You don't take Wyoming as a road dog, and the desert. So
you learned about the desert back in the 90s when I bet you about the Nebraska Cornhuskers came and they're number 1 in the nation. And I told you that Snake Plummer, Pat Tillman, and these Sun Devils were going to get you.
Who was the wide receiver?
Keith Poole.
Oh, there you go.
Bring it. Let's go.
Hello.
Who was their running back? He played for the Saints for a little bit. Battle. I think his name was Battle. Can't remember his first name.
This is a database question.
Yeah. Anyway, what were we gonna say?
Arizona State. Look, I mean, they've been a hard team to predict. I don't feel like that's necessarily a huge air ball. They haven't been very good for a while now.
No, but like last season,
and
they
Wyoming,
like
they've been bad.
Yeah.
Right. And Wyoming's been pretty good. I know, obviously, like you just said, the road is a factor there. But the fact that Wyoming has played good defense and we haven't necessarily expected anything out of Arizona State's offense, where that explosion came from. Now, them skunking Wyoming, that's not that big of a surprise. But them hitting 48 on them, that's a surprise.
Yeah, I mean, look, Penn State looked incredible, but Penn State, we know, like we don't have to go that far back. to say, like Allard I said he had to prove me wrong. He proved me wrong, right? I said Cristobal's got to prove me wrong. He proved me wrong, but I'm still gonna hang on to that one because he's had a few wins before. Where I'm not ready to crown Miami yet, even though they look fantastic.
That's smart.
But anyway, let's get into this mess. Before we do that, I want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times the amount of money you enter. The NFL is back. Yes, it is starting this Thursday, even though they have that cockamamie kickoff. And there are a ton of pick'em specials to get you started. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries as well. So get on over there to Underdog Fantasy. They got college football best ball. I mean, we even dropped an episode regarding this. You got to love that as well. Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back. Anything else you want to talk about from week one before we dive into this slate?
I want to talk about, for as much shit as you're giving me about Vanderbilt beating Tech, how about you own up to JMU slapping the crap out of Charlotte?
9 starters out.
We listened to it for an
9
entire
starters
time, and the
out.
Excuses were built in before the week even started.
9 starters out.
And then afterwards, Poggi coming at the fan base for not showing up as much. I don't know, man, but you don't. I mean, I get it. You want fans to be there. They want to show up and to stay there the whole game. You can make a comment, but don't keep on going on about it. Not a good look, and you don't want to drive a wedge between you and your fan base.
That's true, but I'd like to see any one of those fans step to Biff Poggi.
Yeah, that's true. let me throw Poggi and Charlotte a little bone here. They made some really bad mistakes and still only were outgained by 100 yards. That score, JMU, let's be honest, tacked the one on really late. Tacked on a touchdown to make it look worse than it was. That game was pretty close through 2.5 quarters. And frankly, Charlotte was the better team in the first half, even though they gave up the lead in the last minute. So, JMU did look terrible. They looked a lot better in the second half. But Charlotte, I thought their on-field play in the first half at least looked pretty good. So
yeah, in the trenches, I thought they actually played well.
Yeah,
considering. But
when they weren't making mistakes.
The quarterback situation was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that one throw I rewound and just kept making fun of? What was it?
The one where he threw it out of bounds.
Yeah. Hey, 4th and 5. Let's not throw the ball away.
And chucks it into the stands.
It's not there. Let me just throw it in the crowd.
Was that what's it? Is Max Brown? Is that his name?
Yeah.
The Florida transfer. What? He wasn't very good at Florida, but
he also tried to throw the ball and it went backwards, which was a fumble, which JMU recovered. He had 2 picks that were ridiculous.
Oh, look at Cristobal talking shit, by the way, to the Gators. Oh,
boom! Gotta
love it. Hey, that Florida State game is going to be a true piece of shit at the end of the season, huh? Coachless Gators without Napier and Mike Norvell's 3-9.
I wonder if they've both not been bowling in that game in the last 30-40 years. Maybe sometime recently.
No, I think like 2 years ago, probably, right? If I had to guess, just because I was
you
like, when did
right.
Florida State turn that corner?
Yeah.
2 years ago, they still won like 8 or 9 games, I think, right?
Yeah.
It was the year before that, maybe.
Florida State only had a few losing seasons, but I guess Florida's had enough. It seems like it might have happened once or twice, but still a pretty rare thing here.
Yeah. What do we got here? This is the water bottle incident. Billy Napier. This was fucking hilarious.
On the football part, and I think we got to get more. We got to become a more consistent team, and we have to execute better. And if we can focus on those things and not necessarily what some guy in his basement saying in rural Central Florida on social media, then we got a chance to get better, right? So
I think there's something to that.
I was telling my wife that I had like an epiphany of we were interviewing I don't know who the fuck were we interviewing, but somehow they brought up Rich Rodriguez's motto of like, these people doing podcast are just losers in their parents' basement in their underwear. And I can't help but think of I was doing laundry like a week ago. And I was podcasting and I'm just in my boxers. They don't know this, right? But I'm like, God damn it, he was right.
They are talking about us.
And here's the water. This is great. It took about 5 minutes to open this bottle of water here. Aquafina even beat the Gators.
The whole water bottles, because that was a Brian Kelly's thing too, where he slammed the water bottle down.
That's true.
So I think he just slammed his fist, right? Or no, did he?
He
the water bottle
fist.
started rattling. Yeah.
It caught air. It came out with a picture of it catching air.
Let me say, I think he might be right a little bit, because I think Florida, it seemed like quit kind of and seemed to be a little bit concerned. You see that one offensive lineman just walking during the interception. He's like, could easily make the tackle, just walks, doesn't hustle at all. I don't know. It seemed like Florida might have been and with Miami being there, it is a little personal. So to be insulted like that probably hurt them a little bit.
Yeah,
they need to get tough. Florida needs to figure it out. But
that's his job.
That is his job, but he has to call out his players. That's what he's doing. He's doing his job.
Well, I love there are no basements in Florida. That's even better. All these basements in Central Florida, you said, right?
Yeah.
Oh, good times. Glad to have the season back. All right, let's get to this. All right, because we got a barn burner for Friday night that I'm excited about.
Hell yeah.
I want this one. Obviously, we have a classic. What bowl game was that? Holiday Bowl? I think it was the Holiday Bowl back in the day. Called this on ESPN Classic as a kid growing up. But let's get to it, because I think this should be I'm just going to go ahead and say they should play this one more often. BYU, SMU, just complete differences as far as the way they want to run their programs. But at the same time, there's something about them just being religious institutions that are just fun. We need to come up with a rivalry name for this game. But this is one that goes back to 1980. Dallas, Texas, Friday night. It's being played there at the old Gerald Ford Stadium. And SMU is laying 11. The over/under set at 55.5. Hey, I mean, I'll start with a lock.
Mormons versus convicts isn't that far off here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's close. It's close. Guys,
it's easy to see a tide turn.
BYU is going to give them a game. Not just buying in because you beat the shit out of Houston Christian. BYU and Kalani Sitake are going to give them a game. This is too many fucking points. BYU, I actually wouldn't be surprised if BYU won the game outright. All right.
That is way too many points.
11 points. Get the fuck out of here. BYU is a good program. They had a down year last year. They're a good program. They got a lot of pride. Mormons versus Methodists. NC Nick, what are you doing here in Dallas, Texas, Friday night?
100% agree. I was shocked when I saw this line was over 10 points. SMU is still getting this love, which I don't really understand. I mean, should we be impressed that they beat Houston Christian by 52? No, not really. BYU played a much tougher FCS team and also won 41-13. The quarterback, Retzlaff, looked really good. He looked a lot better than Keaton Slovis ever did last year. I'm definitely taking the points with you here. I'll lock it up as well. Very surprised this was over 10. I think it's a ball game.
We got a double lock at Gerald Ford Stadium. Patty C, triple lock?
Well, this is something I'm going to harp on throughout the episode probably. And it's just taking the information that we have at our disposal. And I know Nevada looks a lot better. Week 2 beating Troy, even though Troy had coach turnover, so it's hard to say.
I mean, they won 2 games in 2 years. I'm going to go ahead and say Nevada's making gigantic strides.
They're making gigantic strides, but how good are they really? And the fact that SMU struggled that hard with them, I don't think. I think BYU's a much harder opponent even now with the strides they've made than Nevada is. So
for sure,
I think 11 is way too many, and I'll lock it with you guys.
Triple lock. Let's go. Boom. Yeah, and. The line's already moved to 10.5. I'll let people know these slides were made this morning. So if any lines changed, fuck you. All right. These lines
Vegas
were made this morning. Yeah.
Listening live to our locks and just moving the meter. Tony Reale.
Well, the guy complaining, were you guys on that show last week with us, or was that just me solo?
No, yeah. I think it was all 3 of us. Yeah.
I do so many shows I don't remember what the hell I'm doing.
And it's not like there's not 20 different books out there that might have the line slightly different than the other ones.
Yeah. Excited to watch that one. Also on Friday night.
All it did was take me 10 seconds to go find it on DK to find the number that you guys are talking about.
DK of all places.
What's this DK that you speak of?
The Duke, maybe it's Duke. The Duke Blue Devils are heading up. Me and Patty C, we're kind of enjoying that new stadium. We saw Miami, Ohio Northwestern, and for some reason we couldn't keep our eyes off this game, despite it being 3-3 in the fourth. But
Barstool maybe called it out, saying it was a beautiful.
Yeah, there's like people's like every pass that went like just a little bit up in the air. You're seeing like complete Lake Michigan. You got people sailing. It's just a fucking beautiful background.
I thought it was cool as well. Hell
they
yeah.
gotta. Why even? What are they spend $800 million on the new stadium? Hello, McFly. You got it right now. You got something so unique.
Yeah. Just build on the other sides.
Yeah.
Right? Leave the lakeside with like a tiny little bleacher there.
You're never gonna pack that new stadium. All right. Yeah. You are not gonna look at that. That thing is fucking fire. And especially the shots from like the other side where like the TV crew was, every damn pass. It looked awesome. It looked like the most unique thing I'd seen in college football in a while.
Sun sparkling off the water. It was nice.
So I got another lock here because Duke did not impress me against Elon. No, meanwhile, Northwestern, I'm buying in. I know Duke historically, over the past 5-10 years, has whooped Northwestern's ass. I feel like
they have won 5 in a row,
but it's about when you catch them. All right, I'm not. And Malik Murphy. All right, there's gonna be a gust of wind coming in there off Lake Michigan. So,
were you really that impressed by Northwestern though?
I was, because Miami, Ohio, I think is better than Duke. They won the MAC last year.
Okay.
I will lay the 2.5. Lock it up. How about this to start off a show? NC Nick, what are you doing here against your boys?
You know where I'm going. And speaking of lines, yesterday I saw a Duke plus 3.5, and I jumped all over that because I do think this is going to be a low scoring game. To Ivetta's point in the chat, the under looks very appealing because I do think these are two good defenses and two somewhat limited offenses. I don't trust Mike Wright at quarterback. He's the guy that transferred in from Vandy a couple years ago. Very limited as a passer. So I think Duke will be able to contain him as a runner. If so, that makes Northwestern awful one-dimensional. I thought Duke was a little bit off timing-wise. I mean, they almost hit like 5 or 6 deep passes. But Malik Murphy, I think, will be better in his second game. The thing that kind of surprises me about him, guys, is, everybody kind of compared him to Cam Newton because his physical size, but he does not play like Cam Newton. He is strictly a passer. He is almost like Peyton Manning back there. He's almost a lawn chair.
He didn't have
Has he got a huge forehead?
A rushing attempt.
Yeah.
And neither did he. He didn't have one rushing attempt last year either. So what I want to see him do is unlock another dimension to that offense and have him run the ball more. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But either way, I think Duke can do enough, with his arm. I think they find more success running the ball this week. And I think Duke wins this. But of course, I'm biased.
This guy's got Duke winning the Natty. Patty C, what are you doing here at this beautiful stadium there? I don't even know what the fuck they call it. Lakefront property.
That's not what they're calling.
That's what I'm calling it.
It should be. Yeah, it's a beautiful. That'd be a great name for a stadium. Look, I don't know. I didn't catch enough of this game to see if Malik Murphy was the guy that I think one of the podcasts I was listening to this week was comparing him to. I think James Franklin, the old Missouri quarterback, who would just stand there and wait for the pressure on all sides to get like 1 foot away from him before throwing the ball. So if that's what he's doing, that is a complete waste of his physical tools. For
True.
Murphy.
And the only reason why I said Peyton Manning because they're both exactly 6'5", 230, and they don't move much.
Yeah, one looked kind of jacked though.
He does have
Peyton
a huge
Manning,
forehead.
I don't know that Peyton Manning was ever jacked like him.
True.
He does have a huge forehead too. Maybe they are the same. Alternate universes. What's going on here? I like this angle. Let's keep talking about this. Fuck the rest of the show. All right.
Let me say this. I mean, Murphy did throw a pick.
Is Mike right? Eli Manning? What were you gonna say?
No.
That's generous. Look, Northwestern, Brett Gabbert, decent throwing game, 22 of 37, but 227 with 2 interceptions. It seems like a low yards per attempt, and 2 interceptions suggest that Northwestern obviously holding the top quarterback in the MAC to 6 points.
It's awfully windy there too, buddy.
Might be awfully windy, and look, Duke. Doesn't seem like they were throwing the ball downfield much. 7.3 yards per pass. So
why can't Oregon play at that stadium and bring that duck right there? You saw that duck?
Yeah, the giant duck. Just have
This
that
shit looked like
floating around.
Batman. It was like the final scene of the Batman with Michael Keaton, where like Joker brought a big ass. Was it a duck or I don't remember what it was, but they're poisoning everybody, right?
Yeah.
The Oregon Ducks should play at Northwestern next year and bring that duck and sit it right fucking there.
Every opposing team should just park a giant flotation.
I agree with that. College football is supposed to be fun. Yeah, that gigantic duck.
Just have that floating in the background.
Come on, man. That'd be great. Yeah.
Look, I just think probably what's the over under? That's not a very high number. So I'd still lean under there just because Duke's offense doesn't look like it's got it going, and Northwestern's defense is pretty good. But I know it was 2.5 to Northwestern. I'm gonna lean Duke. I'm with Nick on this one.
There we go.
ACC brothers just hanging on your conference for dear life. All right,
5 in a row.
They have
Make it
strangely.
6.
Strangely, they have dominated Northwestern, but guess
And
what?
that's even Cutcliffe's last 2 years where Duke sucked and Fitzgerald was still coaching Northwestern.
Yeah, look at this duck. This should be, guys. College football is about fun. Like to me, all the schools should be doing some shit like this.
Oregon
You know what I
leans
mean?
into the cartoon.
No,
duck thing.
but like when they play at Washington, the sailgating's right there. They're still in the same conference.
Oh, yeah.
Northwestern right here.
They should have someone on
Come
top
on.
just throwing beers out or like.
Doesn't Minnesota have a
Squirting
fucking
them with
river?
a hose or something?
Is that the Mississippi? What river is that running through Minneapolis?
They got like 10,000.
Yeah,
lakes
bring
out.
it right there. LA, you just station it right there. Santa Monica Pier, tie that shit to the
Boom.
pier. They got to do this. Look, it's a lot of fun. Folks, want to tell you that, so those are the Friday games besides the Western Illinois game that we will get to. Not on this show. So the FCS lines were by us doing it on Tuesday. A lot of the FCS lines weren't out for the FBS versus FCS. We will do that one as a solo episode later in the week. So if you're a Leatherneck fan, first off, drink heavily because your team's fucking ass. All right. Cause I bet you plus 35 against Northern Illinois and that didn't hit. Anyway,
you know what USC needs? They need like a Colossus of Rhodes standing like right on top of the stadium. Like the big guy with the sword
they
just
need
looking
to
over.
lean into that shit. Man.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, the duck thing it's really like,
killing
I
it.
got to give them a lot of credit. The Beavers should do this too. You can put a big ass beaver in the water.
Sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these teams could really have a lot of fun with this. Folks, want to tell you the college football experience is brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform, and it helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in a matter of seconds. And you can get predictions on betting, money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Look, the Rhythm College Football had me on Colorado, North Dakota State, under 59.5, which was a sweet cash. I can tell you one that I'm thinking about for the under is that Army Florida Atlantic under 42.5.
Yeah,
I think everyone's talking about this Iowa State one, which I'll play that under too. But Army Florida Atlantic. Yeah, so get on over there. All right. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch with killer last minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So what are you doing? Take the guesswork out of those things, all right? And it's not just MLB. I mean, they're just sponsored by MLB. It's college football. You're going to go out to Lakefront, Lakeshore Drive, whatever the what's that? What did I just say? Lakefront Property Stadium in Evanston. You're gonna go out to Lakefront Property Stadium. Well, damn it, pull out the Game Time app. All right, you can get yourself a ticket, save you some cashola. All right, save up to 60% off buying last minute sports or concerts or comedy or theater or whatever. You know, you got it all right there on the Game Time app. So jump on over there, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the redeeming code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create that account, redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we are back. And now we jump over to Saturday's action. Yes, a big brown beaver.
You never get enough
I think
of that.
everybody would like to see that.
Nice beaver.
Next, we go to suddenly, this could be a preview of the ACC championship. The way the ACC is going. Surprisingly, Georgia Tech and Syracuse had not played at all until the year 2001. And then a few years later, they were in the same damn conference. All right, Georgia Tech is laying 3 in that filthy, filthy Carrier Dome. The over-under set at 60.5. I'm riding the Yellow Jackets, although I was impressed. I've been impressed with both teams this year. But I just think Georgia Tech's a little more complete right now. They kind of know their identity. Year 2.5 of Brent Key.
Game 3.
Game 3. I'm going to go with the Yellow Jackets minus the points. And I'm going to lock it. Let me another lock. 3 plays, 3 locks. Call me the goddamn locksmith over here, Patty C. All right.
Mike Loxley.
Hello.
Yes. And shout out to the chat, the Stadium Head Show, which you should be subscribed to. We will be going live tomorrow morning talking. Shout out to LFG, the Stadium Heads Show. Check that out. YouTube.com/@StadiumHeadsSGPN. NC Nick, what are you doing here at that filthy Carrier Dome?
I mean, was Syracuse that impressive last week?
Well, if you were impressed with Northwestern beating Miami, Ohio by 6, then you should be impressed with Syracuse beating Ohio by 16.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Yeah, Colby did say that. True.
I'm just saying, Syracuse offensively looked like they made some strides. It looks like they have players. On defense, they gave up 255 yards on the ground to Ohio, including they gave up Anthony Tyus, the Northwestern transfer, to Ohio, ran for over 200 himself, which makes me think Jamal Haynes and Haynes King are licking their chops to get a piece of this, so-so run defense. I'm buying into Georgia Tech. Colby, I'm with you. I'll lay the points. I'll lock it up too.
Buzz, buzz, sting, sting. Double lock on Georgia Tech. The Rambling Wreck. Patty C, you want to join us?
No, I don't. But I think I'm going to lean Georgia Tech as well. Syracuse looked really impressive. Kyle McCord, 354 yards compared to Haynes King. 2 games, just 421. So it seems like Syracuse has a much more prolific passing attack. Obviously, Jamal Haynes, I think he is the difference in what makes me lean Georgia Tech. Otherwise, I was pretty impressed by Syracuse, but I think he's just too explosive. He'll find a way to get the yardage that they need. And
wait till we get our hands on you. Is that
that's
it?
Jordan.
Something like
yeah,
that,
that's right.
Yeah.
Old Jordan.
Also, shout out to Avetta, who got to hang with Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate you.
Isn't he the man?
Yeah, he is the fucking man.
Barker,
He's out there going to all the damn games. You don't even know what I don't want to ruin where he's going to be at tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah.
But he's fucking deep. He's deep in the college football world.
When you live
he's
that lifestyle,
deep.
like I feel like you just can't be an asshole. Maybe you could, but he's not. He's just like he's the chillest dude, and he's just living the life of he's going for it.
Yeah, got it. He's the man.
Yep.
Man, shout out
I
to
would
the
imagine
CFP
he
campus
has to be at Northwestern because this is probably the only year they're playing at that stadium. So
next year too. There's two. He's got a 2-year window on this, and actually, I alerted him to this. I told him because he was thinking about going this Friday, right? And I said, "Whoa, if I were you, that's a night game. You ain't gonna see Lake Michigan, brother." I said, "Hey, go on some of these. Go hit a day game." All right. So he pivoted from his move, and I think now he's rumored to be in Bloomington. All right, Patty C, you're on the cues.
No, I'm on Georgia Tech to cover.
Okay, no lock.
No
That's
lock.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Next, we jump to State College, Pennsylvania. Holy shit, this Drew Allard looking like fucking Dan Marino back there. The Bowling Green Falcons are coming into Happy Valley, Beaver Stadium. Once again, nothing like a good old game at Beaver Stadium.
Nice Beaver.
34.5. Scotty Leffler and Bowling Green scored on the first play of the season. Opening kick, they took it back, and they just went on to beat the piss out of Fordham. But Penn State looked pretty damn good.
By the way, of all people to compare Drew Allard to, last year Dan Marino would have been a good comparison. This year, Michael Vick is the comparison. It's a little much, but
I'm about to say, what are you talking about?
He's
here?
running, man. He was mobile. He was agile last
I wouldn't
game.
say that though. I would say more like Rich Gannon.
Okay. Yes, I wasn't serious.
I guess I'll take the points. I can see Penn State calling off the dogs a little bit, but I don't feel good about this one. This is a rivalry, or this is not a rivalry. This is a series that goes back to 1987. NC Nick, what are you doing here in State College?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a letdown spot for Penn State. I mean, not that they have to worry about losing this, but I'm high on Bowling Green this year. You guys are Leffler haters, and I'm here to stand up for the man and his team. So I will take the points with the Falcons.
Patty C, what are you doing here in Happy Valley?
Look, I was pretty impressed with Bowling Green week 1. I think Basilak was efficient, 15-22. However, Penn State was explosive, but that is too many points. Not to mention, is it a letdown spot for Penn State? It's probably a Super Bowl spot for Bowling Green this year. So I think they find a way to keep it within probably 4 touchdowns.
All right, we're all agreeing. No wager here though. Next up, we're going to Del Boca Vista. It's to the Army Black Knights taking on the Florida Atlantic Owls. Who almost took down Michigan State, but they had that bitch ass quarterback doing all those abrupt slides. All right. And I will never look. I told Patty C all summer, Florida Atlantic's going to beat Army. I cannot do that after watching them. Army gets it done. Give me Army money line there and Del Boca Vista. I cannot root for that team. It's their first ever matchup between the two. Black Knights, Jeff Monken. You're getting more than a field goal. Give me Army. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
No, I agree. Yeah, I wasn't a Cam Fancher believer even before I saw him against Michigan State, where he was doing the abrupt slide time after time after time, which was very annoying. You could tell it was frustrating Sparty too.
Shout out to this clip. Shout out to this clip. Noah doing the Lord's work. Let's play this thing. Actually, I want to complain for a second. This is a story of this year's college football. Actually, like for the past 4 years, I've been hating on one man specifically, Jeff Lebby, and this bullshit quarterback's abrupt slide. I've seen it like 20 times. Everyone's fucking doing it now, dude. This is the most dangerous play in football. They keep trying to say the kickoff. Got to have targeting, even though that makes no fucking sense either, right? This has got to get out of football. If you care about player safety, make it so you cannot slide anymore if you're a quarterback.
You take kickoffs and you identify one play from the game that you say, okay, concussions happen at a higher percentage during this play than any other play. Why don't you do that for quarterback slides? Why don't you do that for that rule? If you're going to do it for a type of play, do it for a fucking rule too. Put yourself in a defenseless position, but you wait.
And your head slams back on the turf because all your momentum is going that way. Right it is the most dangerous play in football. I refuse to believe anything else is even remotely close to it. Look, I mean, great work, Noah, by the way, at TCE on SGPN as well on Twitter. But like, I'm fucking right. Yeah. Like it's way more dangerous than any other fucking
when you
play.
Consider that all the videos were from this weekend. Like that was like 10 examples,
dude. We didn't even have we didn't even put the Wisconsin one in there. There was one that happened in the Wisconsin game too. So like you're sitting there and you're like, this is by far the most dangerous fucking play. No one wants to talk about it. No, because it's pro offense. Yeah. It disqualifies the defensive player, which is ridiculous in the first place that he's disqualified.
Yeah.
For playing football. Yeah. And just the guy happens to abruptly slide. Yeah. And I continued my tackle.
Yeah.
For me, once they start running, they're no longer a quarterback. They're a football player. And they always use a term. What's the term they use for a position, like a vulnerable position that you don't want to be hit at?
Defenseless. They say. Yeah.
That's exactly what you're doing when you slide. You are now in a defenseless position. And the goal was to get rid of the defensive position. So if you're an offensive player putting yourself in that position, then I completely agree that it should be removed. There should be no sliding.
That's what I'm saying. But it's all bullshit every time. Every time. Like
you shouldn't be required to take a hit, but if you put yourself in a position where the defender, the onus of him making a miraculous avoidance of you is his job. No, that's ridiculous. If you do that, then you sacrifice the safety of that protection.
This shit's been going on since Lebby was at Central Florida, right? With the very Golden Knights, right? And then now everyone's copying this because especially like teams aren't that deep. Right, players in the backups hit the portal. You get your like Michigan State lost their best defensive guy, kicked out of the game. Yeah. Right, we saw the same situation. UConn, one of their better players, kicked out of the game. Right, and it's ridiculous. They don't care about this shit. I can't believe none of these fucking spineless fucking announcers never say anything.
Lebby knows that he's going to get an extra 15 out of it. He doesn't give a fuck about the quarterback.
It's nonsense too. It's the same situation with the domes. Don't get me started on the domes. All right. We got to play in more domes. All right. Right? Why? The game's faster on turf, right? You play it on grass like in Ireland. What was the common complaint in Ireland? Oh, this game, it's going to take away Florida State's speed. Well, guess what? If you play on grass, you're going to slow down the game, which means less goddamn CTE, you fucking losers. And that doesn't even include the chances of rain and snow. Goddamn it, give me my beer. All right?
It's true. I mean, especially Notre Dame's old turf, they used to grow the grass.
That's what I'm saying. It's a no-brainer. Yep. It's so stupid. They don't really care. They just say they care. That's the truth. All right.
Are we all on Army?
Let me say this.
Fuck FAU, right?
Cam Fancher for 25 carries for 67 yards is 2.7 yards per attempt. That's not going to get it done. You can't have that your quarterback be your bell cow at 2.7 yards per attempt, and then 25 passing attempts for 116 yards, 48%. That is not a prolific offense. Now, is some of that because Michigan State and Jonathan Smith probably has a pretty tough defense like he's always had, even in game one? Sure. But I don't trust that offense. Army, meanwhile, it took them a while to get it going. Granted, Lehigh had all summer to prepare for that offense, so they're probably a little better prepared than most teams are. And then the last little bit is this Noah Short guy, the running back who ended up leading them in rushing yards. I thought the fact that who was the running back that's still hurt for Army?
Tyrell Robinson.
Yeah. I thought they would be, without a weapon on the edges without him. But dude, this Noah Short dude is the fastest dude on the team. Super quick on the edges and opens up he spreads the field laterally, and then that opens up the middle. So I think Army's offense, once they figured it out and started giving him the ball, really opened up. So I'm not even going to join you on that under. I think Army and FAU will get it done. Yeah.
Wow. Taking that over. I'm on the under. I'm on the Black Knights. Let's continue on this journey. No locks, right? No one locking up this, Nick?
No, I don't think so.
Let's jump to another one there. The Liberty Bowl. Memphis, Tennessee. Troy and Memphis go back to 1937. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there.
Old game.
Memphis lay at 18, over under at 57.5. The Gerard Parker hire was weird for me, and it got even weirder when I saw Nevada go in there and get the dub. Memphis rolls. I'll lay the 18. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I think I agree. I'm a little worried about Troy. I think they might slip back into a tailspin and kind of be towards the bottom of the Sun Belt West. So Memphis, on the other hand, so far looking good. They got a high-powered offense. I think they can cover it too.
Patty C, what are you doing here at the Liberty Bowl?
Yeah, you got to be concerned about Troy. Again, we just talked about them losing to a traditionally terrible Nevada team.
I do love Debbie loves Dallas, Chad G. I was actually watching that the other day.
Nice.
Actually, no, I was listening to the music the other day, so I guess I wasn't watching. I was listening to the soundtrack on YouTube, which in a way was watching. Wait. It just wasn't.
There's a soundtrack to it.
Why were you listening to the soundtrack?
It actually recommended it for me.
That tells you all you need to know.
On YouTube, though, they don't have porn on YouTube. What are you talking about?
Papa Dan always was into some Motown funk.
Oh yeah,
so,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I listen to a lot of fucking cool old school music, so it just recommended me. So I was technically watching Debbie Does Dallas instrumental with the words Debbie Does Dallas up there. So it's out there on YouTube. Go listen to it, folks.
Were you showing White Tiger?
I was not showing. I was playing. I was playing it for White Tiger, so he can get in the mood. You know what I mean?
That's right. He's getting his mojo early. Let me say this. It's hard to bet against a quarterback named Goose,
That is true. That is true.
Seth Hannigan, even against Northern Arizona, or no, was it North Alabama rather? 308 passing yards. Even against tough competition, it's nice to have your quarterback be crisp. So I think that'll continue. I'll join you guys with Memphis.
I will say Sunbelt West, best quarterback names. You got Goose Crowder, you got General Booty. I mean, those two right there. Come on.
One of my favorite quarterbacks' names. They should be in the Sun Belt West soon, and that's Abilene Christian. Who should have beat Texas Tech. Maverick MacGyver, the quarterback for. I mean, that guy. He walks through a town. He's getting all the pussy. All right. Maverick.
He's
MacGyver.
Solving every situation.
Oh my God.
You know what? Actually, come to think of it, 18 is a little too many to me. A little too many. So I'm
Trojan man.
I'm gonna lean Troy.
And how about this, NC Nick? How about to Rocky Beers? All right, from Colorado too. He's down there at FIU. Wait, he transferred there? Okay, because I think I remember him a season ago.
I know he was born. He's from the state of Colorado. I don't know where he was, but he did catch a touchdown. The one and only touchdown that FIU scored last week against Indiana. It was by the one and only Rocky Beers.
Can you give me one of those silver bullets, buddy?
If Coors Light doesn't get Rocky Beers on
Speaking of Rocky Beers.
Coors Original is better than Coors Light, though.
Hell yeah. Coors Original. OG.
I know they don't have the cold activated can, which is still, I mean, I don't know about you folks, but you have like 6 or 7 of these. Just really started wondering how they're getting these mountains blue. I always do that. Anyway, this Florida fan, hilarious. He's drinking High Noons. Of course, I question everything about him already. But shout out to him. Patty C, you're a Trojan man. You're going with the Trojans there. No luck though, huh?
Correct.
Next up, we got a barn burner in Ann Arbor. The Texas Longhorns, fresh off of a royal ass whooping of Colorado State. They're heading to the big house where Michigan. Don't let the people fool you. Like Mikey Keene had that thing to like 6-point game in the fourth quarter before he threw 3 interceptions on one drive and only one of them counted. I think this is up to 7.5 now. By the way, I think you still have to lay it.
The lesson learned for Quinn Ewers: do not throw the ball over the middle against Michigan, or really on the edge. That who was it? The guy who took the house call at the end. The corner from Michigan.
Will Johnson.
Yeah. That was a beautiful pick 6.
I mean, look, I want Michigan to win this game so badly. But I just think it's a bad matchup for them right now. Michigan's offense, I was not impressed by. And Texas, what's the best thing about Texas? Their offensive line is fucking awesome. So it can neutralize that defense some. I think it might be the best offensive line in the country. So I got to take Texas minus the points here because of the uncertainty at the quarterback spot for Michigan. Now, obviously, I'd like to get 7 over 7.5. And Noah, can you find me a 7? Is there a 7 still out there? But I don't know. NC Nick, what are you doing here at the big house?
I disagree. Here's where home field advantage still matters in college football, even though maybe it didn't last week. I think it's way too easy to say Texas looked great against Colorado State last week. Michigan did not look good against Fresno, and therefore Texas is just going to steamroll Michigan. I do think the Michigan defense comes to play. I think the Michigan offense is a little bit better, at least good enough to keep it within arm's reach in game number 2. I will take the home dog in the points here.
Wow, Patty C, what are you doing here? Code blue?
Code blue, because look, I am tempted to obviously go with the obvious information in front of me. So going against my earlier rant there, but look, Michigan, they played very good defense, even though they didn't throw the ball down the field very well. You know, they were basically check down city all game, and that might not work against Texas. I just wasn't super convinced with Texas's offense. Yes, they opened up 24 points in the second quarter, but just that first quarter scared me a little bit for Texas. Only 7 points managed.
Look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. You know, Texas could be playing anybody, and I'd be rooting for, even Jeff Lebby.
Yeah,
I'd be rooting for against Texas, I think. But I just think it's a bad matchup for them. I don't think Michigan can pass the ball on them, and the flaw of Texas's defense is their pass defense, or it was a year ago. As a bottom 10.
Michigan can't exploit that.
So I just think it's a bad matchup from the Styles point of view.
I don't know. I mean, offensively, Texas had 2 guys rushing for 67 yards. So I guess they, were still able to get off a little bit, but they weren't completely dominant on the ground, which is Michigan's forte for stopping that. So I think Texas is going to have a much tougher time scoring points. I don't know if Michigan's going to score many at all, but call me crazy. I'm picking Michigan on the money line upset.
Wow.
There we go.
Please be true. Look, I want to bet Texas so bad, but I fucking hate Texas. So I'm not going to bet. Stay tuned. If this goes to like 6.5, I would do this.
When has Quinn Ewers faced a really tough defense?
Alabama last year, they won by double digits.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
I don't know if I see this line going back down. I mean, it's gone up. It's gone up 4 points. Yeah, I think it was at 3.5 before the games last Saturday. So now it's at 7.5. I don't know if it's going to go back down.
Yeah, I
wish there was a hook. That would be super lockable. But sitting there at flat 7.
Isn't that crazy? The series only goes back to 2005. You'd assume they played sometime in a bowl game in
Did
the
Texas
60s,
get them
70s.
both times in the early 2000s?
I don't remember. I'd have to pull it back up.
I know they got him in the Rose Bowl,
but
the year prior to the USC or Texas National Championship.
Anyway,
that was a great game.
Let's continue on. We got the Akron Zips heading into Piscataway. Did that Danny DeVito Jersey Mike's money, buying players left and right. I got a lock for you. Akron's covering this.
Oh, back on with Moorhead, huh?
I was impressed by them against Ohio State. I thought they played feisty, and Rutgers against Howard was not impressed. Give me the points in the Zips. They lost in double overtime or triple overtime at Indiana last year. Indiana and Rutgers been the same team for 50 years. All right, give me the Zips plus the points. They're being disrespected. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I kind of disagree again. I'm gonna lay the points actually. Shiano knows the
battle.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Shiano knows the spread though. Rutgers had no business covering.
That was such a dickhead move.
I mean, that was worse than
I've ever seen.
That was worse than Penn State, West Virginia last year because at least like Franklin wasn't like going hurry up to get to get plays off. I mean, so that tells you.
Army did it too, though. Army did it against Lehigh too. It was a true asshole move.
It's a new thing, I guess. And
no, it wasn't like fucking Rutgers who was like running. They might have even called a timeout at the end.
Left, dude.
Yeah, they scored, but they weren't like
they running the triple. They could have ran out the clock.
They weren't running like stopping the clock. Rutgers was like actively trying. Like 14 seconds they ran a play, 7 seconds they ran a play.
When they found out Schwarzkopf had the Black Knights minus.
I just think
minus whatever that number was, 33.5.
It's New York City's team. The Mafia is probably in play here. But look,
and my guess is that the Ohio State Akron, that was more Ohio State kind of getting used to all their new toys and everything, and hearing how great they're going to be this year. I think they came out the gate slow, maybe more so than Akron playing well.
Well, what are these new toys on Rutgers? Because they don't have any fucking toys on offense. On defense, they're good, right? And that is why the Zips are going to hang around. We're going to get this thing done. Patty C, what are you doing here in Piscataway? You going to buy into this bullshit he's trying to spread?
23.5 is not that many points for Rutgers to cover here against a terrible Akron team. Okay.
Took Indiana to triple overtime last year.
Sure. Okay.
Indiana and Rutgers weren't that different last year.
That's true. So Akron, once in a blue moon can manage to, play their Super Bowl and lose close. But Rutgers, 23.5 points. Like Nick said, Shiano got it done when he had to get the cover. That's clearly on his mind, and I think he's going to continue with that trend. And that makes him. You got to love him after that.
Well, we'll see because Akron. I mean, no one's going to be betting Akron besides Dundee, and I'm gonna be the only bastard cashing. All right.
Well, you
guys. Who else bet Vanderbilt money line? I didn't hear a fucking soul on the planet talk Vanderbilt money line.
No, you got a big flex there.
I thought Colby finally swore off Moorhead after last year, but now he's going back.
Back on.
I always love Moorhead.
Like a crack fiend going back to the pipe.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rutgers. Shiano had some late game shenanigans in the NFL too that got him in trouble. So I don't think he's immune to like breaking the rules.
Tom Coughlin wanted to kill him, right?
He's not afraid to break conventions in order to get what he wants. So look, Rutgers all the way.
Maybe Noah can find that picture of Tom Coughlin like in the really cold playoff game where his face is like so red. I thought he was going to pass
head coach.
I thought he was going to have a heart attack that game. I swear to God.
Yeah, that guy's that guy's built for shit like that, man.
Coughlin, yeah.
We got an old school rivalry reborn in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And I mean, I just think it's a bit disrespectful that you see what Bobby, by the way, this series goes back to 1912. They used to play every year, right? I'm glad it's back on the schedule. Arkansas heading to Stillwater to take all the Pokes. Oklahoma State laying 7.5, the over under 60.5. Pokes look good. Dominated South Dakota State. I thought that game would be closer. However, Bobby Petrino, aka Road Rash Face, put up a big number against Pine Bluff.
Am I supposed to be impressed?
I'm taking Arkansas on the points. This is a game. Yeah, look at that.
That's not bad.
That's hilarious right there. It's just. I mean, it looks fake. This looks fake. Patty C, what are you doing here in Stillwater?
He looks worse than Road Rash face there. Speaking of which,
maybe he's trying to pay homage to Bobby Petrino. What are you doing here?
I don't know. I mean, Bowman and Gordon both went off last week. What do you take away from that? You got to be pretty impressed with having Taylon Green, even though he's only responsible for 229 of them, still going over 400 passing yards. But again, against Arkansas Pine Bluff, that's a crazy spread for an Arkansas team to be trailing by that much after that performance they just put on last week. So I have to take Arkansas here.
There we go. Let's go. Whoop it
again. I completely disagree with you guys. I think one of the most impressive wins from last week that nobody's talking about is Oklahoma State, owning South Dakota State. If I could talk about these funny pictures.
You can't. That's the best thing that's ever happened to the sport of football.
They look similar. One person got in a motorcycle accident and one person was in the cold. But no, dude, I think Oklahoma State wins this. I think they cover. I'm going to lock it up also. I was very impressed with their performance against a very good South Dakota State team. Let's go Pokes.
Wow. I did not see this one coming. He's locking this one up against, he just doesn't know about old Bob Petrino there. But let me tell you, he knows about the whores in Stillwater. He's going to feel at home when he comes in through Stillwater. But NC Nick, I can't find how about my Cowboys?
Laying the hook.
NC Nick, lock it up.
I'm not afraid of no hooks.
Never been afraid of a hooker. Why should you be afraid of a hook?
There you go.
There you go. I'm fascinated by this game. I really want to watch this game.
Oh yeah, this is a good game.
A really underrated game for this week.
This could conceivably have some kind of playoff implications. Maybe if Arkansas has a phenomenal year, ends up at like 10-2. Probably not, but
yeah.
Maybe both are 9-3 at the end of the year, vying for a spot.
I did bet against Oklahoma State last week, but I just proved to me that you could be flawless in September because Gundy's never flawless in September. Next up, oh boy, did you guys catch any of the Sela Tulane game?
Tulane whooped their ass.
You catch that freshman quarterback Mensa out of San Luis Obispo, California? Because goddamn, that boy's good. All right, Kansas State heading into Yeoman Stadium. Look, kudos to Kansas State. A lot of teams don't do this though. They're going in to the Hornets' nest of Yeoman Stadium there. K-State's laying 10.5. Search around if you're on the dog.
It's a great game.
This is an awesome game. It's an awesome game. Now, here's the question I would ask you from week one, much like with Ohio State or with Oregon or Kansas State. Were they keeping it vanilla purposely because they knew they had a tougher week 2 game? Because I was not impressed with Ohio State in week 1. I was not impressed with Kansas State in week 1. I was not impressed with Oregon week 1. I'm forgetting one other. I think there was one other team that did this shit
Michigan?
too. Yes. I mean, that has me thinking, give me Tulane to the points because Tulane has some talent, man. Mario Williams was the #1 recruit in the nation at wide receiver at Oklahoma. And he's now at Tulane.
Yeah.
They have guys. I'm taking Tulane plus the 10.
What, did he just have a lackluster year at USC last year?
And he dipped out. Maybe he's from New Orleans. I don't know why. But I will take Tulane. Lock it up. Give me the points. Give me the points.
What happened in last year's game there?
They didn't play last year, but a couple years ago, Tulane did beat them 17-10 in the Little Apple. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, Kansas State is kind of like Utah, where you don't trust them as much on the road as you do at home. And their ATS record on the road last year proves that, just 1-3-1. I agree with you. I'm going to take Tulane. I'm going to take the points. I don't feel quite as confident as you, though, so I'm not going to bet it.
I'm with Dave in the chat. Sprinkle a little bit on that money line. Avery Johnson's got to prove it to me now. Look, I've been impressed certain plays, but all around he's got to prove it to me. And this is like, he's going on the road. I mean, has he even started? I think he started maybe one road game last year, but my point is he doesn't have a lot of experience. Mario Williams grew up in Tampa. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you would do that, but he's a baller, and he's the best receiver in this game. So give me Tulane. Patty C, what are you doing here?
Let me tell you what. Tulane has pretty much a 2-game season, right? Southeastern. I mean,
well, they don't play East Carolina, so you're correct.
I mean, I'm looking at their schedule. I think the hardest Memphis, obviously on Thanksgiving, makes it a 3-game season. But Kansas State this week and Oklahoma on the road next week. If they can get even one of these two, then they are by far in position to go to the college football playoff. So you have to know that they're bringing everything at this game. The fact that it's home, it's going to be a packed crowd. I think Kansas State's going to have trouble with them. It's probably going to be down to a possession. I bet Kansas State gets it done. I'm not going to call money line, but Tulane definitely covers.
Lock, you joining me?
No,
gosh.
I should.
Soulless.
Well, I'll do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, let's fuck it. Have a little fun. Why not?
All right, Patty C sounded like this.
I think tide turning. As I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of it's easy to see a tide turn.
Green wave turning.
Did I say those words?
Double lock on Tulane. NC Nick, it's not too late.
I'm gonna sit this one out.
This guy gets a couple whiskeys, doesn't see it. Look, double-digit dogs. We were right on Sam Houston.
That's right. Easy.
Hawaii should have cashed for us, and then Vanderbilt. I mean, I was hitting on these double-digit dogs.
True.
All right, next up, we go to the likes of Patty C's boys, Cincinnati Bearcats, hosting the Pitt Panthers in an old school rivalry game that goes back to 1921. Cincinnati's laying 2. They're getting Corleone back. Dante Corleone, a stud on the D line who had some issues with his throat or his what was that? Something like breathing or something. I feel like he had some type of.
I'm just a little curious how long he's been out because it's a little bit tough to step right in and be a big factor, you know.
Especially when these Pitt Panthers go out and get former Florida Gator quarterback Kerwin Bell's son, Cade Bell, the OC of Western Carolina. You saw what those Catamounts did too against Carter Finley, against NC State there at Carter Finley.
They were balling.
They almost got him. I think Pitt lost to Cincinnati last year. I think Pitt gets revenge. I am on the Panthers -2. Dexter Reed. Is it Desmond Reed?
Desmond Reed.
Who's Dexter Reed? Is that a safety back in the day?
Florida State?
Yeah, Florida State or Florida.
I
got all these names fucked up. They're in my head. Patty C, I'm on Pitt. Am I a fool? Because your Bearcats, they did cruise against the Tigers of Towson.
They didn't cruise that much.
They got out early. They didn't do anything in the second half. I'll say that. But Sorsby, I mean, they probably called off the dogs. I'm guessing a little bit. I'd be lying if I said I watched.
It was 28-20 in the fourth quarter. It was a 1-score game.
Okay, so maybe they did punch it up a little there in the fourth quarter. 38-20 final. Sorsby 22 of 31, 383, 7th on the weekly passing leaders list there. So if they can get that kind of production out of him, close to 400 passing yards. Then again, Holstein 333 yards. So this could be a little bit of a shootout here if both these teams keep the foot on the gas the whole game. That said, I'm gonna go Cincy, baby. -2 is a little bit. I mean, this game it should be basically a push, but home field advantage for the Bearcats. Nippert. What time is this? What's the kick on this game?
I think it's 9 a.m.
Yeah, that hurts a little bit, but still, give me the Bearcats.
NC Nick, what are you doing here? You repping your ACC? The ACC Big 12 matchup.
I am here. I'm going to side with Colby. I think there's a revenge from last year angle. Plus, I'm kind of buying into Pitt with an offense until Narduzzi screws it up. So Eli
fires
Holstein.
Him mid-season. They're going to score 60 this game. He's going to put him on the hot seat. He's going to say, Cade Bell, the hell was that shit?
So bet on him now. But it's a coin flip game. Tough call. But I'll have Pitt exacting some revenge from last from last year.
And all Pitt haters, folks, like Moneyline Max saying, they got the brawl, backyard brawl next week. So you can go out and get an Eat Shit Pitt t-shirt from the SGPN merch store. Get on over there. What were you going to say, buddy?
Cop that. Pitt's offense, remarkably consistent. Each quarter, 14, 14, 14, and 13
Dude,
points
that hire was underrated, man. Weehawk knows. Anyone that covers the FCS knows because Western Carolina was putting up points last year, man. You saw it right now against NC State. NC State
look, I know the Pussy Pack's the Pussy Pack, but they normally have like a really good defense under Dave Doran and what's my guy's name? The DC Tony White. No, Tony White's at Nebraska.
Dave Doran's DC.
Yeah, the NC State DC. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Anyway, they were able to exploit that. I mean, to a certain extent, they obviously lost the game, but they moved better than I'd say most FCSs.
Tony Gibson.
There we go. Sounds like a NASCAR driver.
Let me ask you this: does giving up 24 points to Kent State worry you at all?
A little bit.
No, because if anything, like Narduzzi with the coming weeks, he gets destroyed in the portal every year, and the defense is always somewhat decent. Like to me, like the defense gets better week by week. I trust that about Pat Narduzzi. Now, what I don't trust is in-game management. In-game management, then I'm terrified.
End of game management. He's the crystal ball of the North. Let me say this though: the fact that Cincinnati gave up 20 to Towson, the fact that Pitt gave up 24 to Kent State, and they both managed 38 and 55 points respectively. That number of 59.5, I think the over is a good play there.
Yeah.
Shootout.
Let's go. Next up, we are going to South Bend, Indiana. First time these guys ever played. How the hell that happened?
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're right there. Right there. Northern Illinois, Thomas Hammock. Look, they've scored some gigantic wins over Power 5 opponents, over the past 30 years since they jumped up to the FBS. Any chance they can cover the 30? I'm going to take a shot on it. I think Notre Dame's offense, I will say this, man. Notre Dame's NC Nick, watching that Notre Dame game, that's the most talent I've seen on offense that Notre Dame had since like that team that had Rocket Ishmael and Ricky Waters.
Well, funny thing is that it's basically the same team as last year, other than Riley Leonard.
Those running backs though are better, man. They got
Price and Love.
Yeah. A couple of those wide out transfers too, I think, are a little bit better.
And I think one of them's hurt though. One of them's not playing this week. I kind of agree with you. I think this is kind of like my Bowling Green Penn State play, where I'm going to take the dog and the points because it's a little bit of a letdown spot coming off that big road win, and then you got to come home, and everybody expects you to kill Northern Illinois. Again, it's not like it's going to be that close, but I think they can cover the number.
Patty?
Northern Illinois quarterback Ethan Hampton, phenomenally efficient. 18 of 20 for 328 last week, 5 touchdown passes. So
Western Illinois has lost 20.
Don't remind me, you sandbagging son of a bitch.
They've lost 25 straight games now. I think it's about time we call them the Pleathernecks. Okay.
Yeah, leather does not belong anywhere. Look, Notre Dame though, I agree with you guys on all the points, and I was impressed with Jeremiah Love's price speed, but at the wide receiver position, not as impressed as you were. I still question their ability to throw the ball. Riley Leonard only 158 passing yards, so they're gonna have to prove it if they're gonna cover 30 points against a pretty good NIU offense.
Patty, see, good point. I mean, the person that led Notre Dame in catches was Bo Collins, who we all thought was shit at Clemson. We've been saying Clemson's receivers haven't been any good for years. He was one of them. They all transfer.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's old Dabo Sweaty.
Maybe it's Texas A&M not being that good.
No, dude, I thought Connor Wegman would be so much better. You want to talk about biggest disappointments?
Or maybe Notre Dame has an elite defense, and Notre Dame
but Connor
should have
Wegman
beaten Ohio State last year.
True, but I mean, A&M's defense was good too. But I'm just like Connor Wegman. I've seen him play against other SEC teams with good defenses, and I'm like,
yeah, he's not a great.
He looked fucking horrible.
Yeah,
he's regressing.
Yeah.
How about Elko getting into it with his OC a little bit too?
Yeah, that's just
run the fuck.
That's Kansas State guy. What's the former quarterback, Colin Klein? Yeah. That was an interesting hire. I thought he was going to keep Kevin Johns, the Duke OC, when he made that transition. I'm surprised he went out there.
Colin Klein was a tough quarterback. I bet he's got thick skin.
I love Colin Klein. Yeah. All right, look, folks, if you're watching on YouTube, stay put. If you're on the audio side, make sure you check out the B side with the rest of the games, including some of the bigger rivalry games on the slate. But yeah, do that. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right, we are back on the college football experience as we're watching youtube.com/the college experience. Mike Elko's yelling. He's yelling. What do you say? Fuck you? I think he said that, right? That happens all the time. We just got done talking Northern Illinois, Notre Dame as we jump into the rest of the noon 30 slate. And we got a barn burner here. You know, one of my NC Nick hates on this. I love watching this each and every year. We got the CyHawk. This goes back to 1894. We got this thing going on. Iowa's laying 2.5. The over under set at 35.5. Of course, I love how I have Notre Dame on there. It's Iowa. That's Iowa, guys. I'm locking up Iowa. I'm not buying into this Rocco Beck shit sophomore slump. You got 7 super seniors on the defensive side of the ball with these Hawkeyes at home. I'll also take the under, but I love Iowa minus the points here to get it done. The fact that Iowa State won the last time in Iowa City. Kirk Ferentz missed game 1. He said you have that one. All right. And by the way, I cashed on Iowa week 1. I happen to be an Iowa expert. NC Nick, what are you doing here in Iowa City?
I'm right there with you. I think the fact that Iowa's at home, they're the older, more experienced team, and you only got to lay less than a field goal now. I'm on Iowa. I think they win this. I think they cover. I'll lock it up with you.
Double lock. Patty C, what are you doing here?
How mad do you think Kirk Ferentz was that Cade McNamara had 31 passing attempts?
Yeah.
That has to be like a season's worth. I mean,
he made offensive coordinator Tim Lester do laps. 31 pass attempts. That's
the statistic. The 3 touchdowns by receivers matched the total touchdowns by receivers of all of last year. Pretty insane. Maybe we're looking at a new Iowa, or maybe it was just because Ferentz wasn't on the sideline. But either way, Iowa State not super impressive last week, so you kind of have to lean Iowa in this one.
You locking it with us?
Sure.
Play the music.
Triple lock as Patty C jumps in on the action. Welcome to the party, pal.
It's buried.
There it is.
Soundboard. I kept hitting it. Just wasn't going. It's like a slant route for Iowa. I kept hitting it. I was open. Wasn't complete. I want to keep this lock train going because I got a lock and I got. You guys want to have some fun? You want to have some fun?
Do you want us to answer that question?
Eastern Michigan's plus 1,300 on the money line. I think they're going to win this game. They're going to go into Seattle, right? They're going to cover the 28, which you and I'd see this. Damn, this line's really gone down since this morning. It's 25. I'm seeing right now. I've already bet with the points.
You've been you said it in the offseason. You said Eastern Michigan might win this game.
Dude, Creighton's got a knack for doing this, right? He's beaten like 5 or 6 Power 5 schools, right? Most recently, he's the guy that I got Herm Edwards fired there in Tempe.
You're going money line on this?
Money line,
dude.
They open up at UMass. They were impressive, winning by double digits at UMass. Washington played Weber State. People don't know this. Weber State's entire team transferred. So Weber State is way worse than you think Weber State to be. And
you have sold the whole farm on Washington. And I think it's going to take you a while to realize that they have not regressed nearly to the point you thought they would. This is not going to be like a 4-8 football team this year.
Yeah, they are.
Dude, they looked good against Weber State.
Weber State doesn't have anybody. Their whole team transferred.
There are a lot of teams that,
like Houston Christian.
Have
Here's the funny thing. Colby took UMass -2 against Eastern Michigan last week.
Yeah.
So you didn't think Eastern Michigan could beat UMass?
I thought it was a look ahead spot.
A look ahead spot.
Yeah, you don't play many Power 5s. Never played at Washington.
Eastern Michigan is looking ahead to anybody. I will tell you that they got pretty good quarterback play from Cole Snyder, the transfer.
That's
from
what I'm talking about.
And from Rutgers before that. And that quarterback play was better than any quarterback they had last year. I agree with you. I'll take the points.
This is a lock. And they're hitting on the fucking money line. Fly with the Eagles. Fly. Washington's ass. All right.
You're crazy to say Washington's ass. I think they're going to prove themselves to be a solid football team still. Bowling by the end of the year.
How was Cincinnati last year?
Okay, you got me on one, and you're gonna milk that for everything it's worth.
This year's Cincinnati is Washington.
Well, they've already. Well, I guess Cincinnati had a hot.
It's very similar. They got rid of their coach, their hotshot coach.
We're gonna see. Look, I think I agree with you that Eastern Michigan will probably cover just because how good they looked in week 1. But I think the better play is the over here. I think both teams can have decent offenses, and I think kind of sleeping on that 47.5. So play the over.
What are we picking this at? Is it picking at 26.5, 28?
What's the best number you could find, B-Nick? If you could check right now, like I said, put these slides together this morning, and it was 28. And now I see 20. I see 25 right now. What I'm looking at now, maybe you can get more than that elsewhere. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Let's have some fun here. We got Alan Cooley in the chat under the handle Papa Commas. He wants me to take Eastern Michigan. He's not going to be pleased since I'm going against Tennessee coming up later. So you know what, Colby? I'll lock up Eastern Michigan with you.
26. There's 26 out there too.
I'll take
get on in on that.
Well, if it's 26, then I'll lock up Washington.
Lock battle. There you go.
Especially 24.5. Please.
Buddy, you just don't know.
This team was in the national championship game.
Not this team. No one's on that team. That were like, one guy that plays
Washington Huskies. I don't give a fuck.
We got a battle. Patty C say lay the 26. Or actually, for Patty C, you get 24.5 on Caesars.
You know who's this year's Cincinnati? Florida State.
Yeah. No, it's Washington.
No.
Then Florida State. Florida State's this year's TCU. All right. Yeah. Anyway, I love that play. I'm very excited about that one. Next, we go to the I see 27.5 out there, says James SC. Search around, folks. Search around. I've already made my wagers. All right. Next, we go to Lexington, Kentucky, Commonwealth Stadium. Don't let them try to sell you on that Kroger Field bullshit. It's Commonwealth Stadium. And South Carolina got so lucky week 1. You want to talk about the luckiest win? Oh my God!
What happened? They battled hard, but they just were playing a not very good team. Oh, it was the fumble by the quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Inside his own 5-yard line. All he has to do is South Carolina's offense had showed no signs of life, really.
Yeah.
Right. It's like if they just punt the ball away.
Yeah, that was
the
terrible.
game is probably over and Old Dominion wins. Instead, the quarterback fumbles inside his own 5-yard line. Of course, South Carolina recovers it, and they cruise to a victory. This is a series that goes back to 1937. I just can't get in on. Look, and I know Beamer has had a knack for fucking up Kentucky.
They've won 2 in a row.
Yeah, I can't go here though. I'm laying the 10 with Kentucky. South Carolina looked horrible, and I'm concerned about their season and Beamer making it through the season. So I will ride Wildcats in this spot here. Patty C, what are you doing here in Lexington?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. South Carolina looked super concerning last week. Kentucky handled their business pretty well. Brock Vandegrift didn't exactly blow up the stat sheets.
No, that game got called at halftime or whatever.
Okay,
early third.
Yeah, it was 31-0 too. I mean, they were looking pretty good.
Yeah,
I had a wager on Southern Miss plus 28 that voided. I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, I thought I was gonna eat shit on that.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Kentucky potentially having college game day on deck, supposedly with Georgia coming to town. We got that storyline with Vandegrift.
They're gonna give us that game for college game day.
A lot of people are projecting that.
Jesus,
I don't know. I mean, they like to go to new locations, and this would be the biggest game.
Go for the Governor's Cup this year.
That's a huge game too. But obviously, Georgia, they want to get on the screen as much as possible.
Georgia at Kentucky's as interesting as my fucking asshole, dude. What are you talking about here?
Okay, I don't know. I mean,
just saying, like, what are we talking about?
Maybe your asshole is really interesting at times.
I'm just saying, like this, really going to put college game day there.
Agree. I think it's a terrible game. There's a lot better choices out there, but that's people in Kentucky are probably aware of that. They want to put a show on, and I think that makes them 10 points is a lot, though. But still, South Carolina didn't look good last week.
Governor's Cups during Michigan, Ohio State, but yeah, they could. I mean, I guess Texas and Texas A&M's where they should be. Still, my point is. Shit, college game day should go to this over the Georgia game. Are you kidding me? Georgia's gonna fuck them up. When's the last time Kentucky beat Georgia?
I don't know. But South Carolina beat
got
Georgia a few years back in Athens.
That's what I'm saying. Well, Beamer's beat Kentucky twice. This game's actually got some merit to it.
Yeah. I don't know. The 10 actually does scare me a little bit. So I don't have a good feel for this.
It's going up a lot. I bet Kentucky Sunday morning -6. -10. I'm still taking Kentucky, but I probably won't lock it because it's starting to get a little too high for me. But I think Kentucky rolls here.
Yeah,
probably.
I have no confidence.
Wouldn't touch it.
South Carolina. First road start for Sellers too. So yeah. Look at these. I mean, come on, spare me on this.
What of the other games?
They're all bullshit.
Oh, the 16-6. That's not that bad. What? That was the last time they played in Lexington.
They were never in that game.
Well, they were never out of that game. If it was 16-6,
whatever. It's like when Iowa dominates Minnesota.
14-3 in Lexington.
It's like when
they've been in all of these games.
They are not in those games though. If you watch
them.
Still,
College Game Day wants to.
What they want? Big Ten West. We can give them Big Ten West. All right. That's a Big Ten West game.
All right, refocus the podcast. We got a lot more games to pick here.
Yeah, I will. Folks, I want to tell you the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy Pick'em gives you a chance to win 1,000 times the amount of money you enter. The NFL is back, and there are a ton of Pick'em specials to get you started. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries too. So sign up, and when you do sign up with the promo code TCESGPN, they got college football best ball as well, folks. Jump on over there. Promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back. Let's go. Let's go, Biff Poggi. Here's your chance. This game's never happened before. Charlotte is heading into Keenan Memorial Stadium. Who's got the cooler old school mascot?
Charlotte does.
Yeah, 100%.
Those are both
right?
amazing, though. Let's be honest.
Keenan Memorial, Max
That
Johnson,
Ram
obviously.
outta here.
The Ram with like the comb over haircut.
Max Johnson, their starting quarterback, out for the season. Charlotte, do I have any intel on getting 9 starters back? Because I just can't. I can't take 22 if they still have those many guys out.
I thought Poggi said it was going to take 3 or 4 weeks or so.
I thought so too. So it's like, God, I want to take Charlotte so bad, but I just can't. I think you got to take Carolina.
Here's the real
22.
question: JMU just beat Charlotte by 23. JMU plays North Carolina in a couple weeks,
so they should be a 1-point favorite.
They're only favoring UNC by 22. They think JMU is better than UNC. Just saying, but no, UNC. Even with the quarterback and the offensive woes that they had against Minnesota, UNC looked terrible. UNC Charlotte looked terrible.
I got to take Carolina.
Yeah,
just that many guys out. You gotta.
Yeah, this is borderline lock.
NC Nick.
Nah, you guys are probably right. I didn't know what to do here because UNC's offense is going to be limited this year. But against Charlotte, I think that's where they get Omari and Hampton really rolling, and he'll probably run for like $150 if not more. So. I guess I'm gonna agree with you here and go Tar Heels.
Yeah. No, I don't know. We don't need to play. I mean, how long is it, B-Nick? If you could find it, if it's short and sweet, we could do it. But
do we know anything about Connor Harrell as a quarterback, the backup for UNC?
He's a freshman, right? And then they also have Criswell, Jacoby Criswell as well, who's started some games. So, I just think that I just can't take Charlotte. I want to take Charlotte. I have a future on their over. All right. But
I will say again, their ability to run effectively up the middle of the field through JMU's defense, which has traditionally been a pretty good defense, is encouraging and might keep this game close. But still, the talent gap is so huge. 22 seems easy.
I'll say my under on UNC took a little bit of a hit beating Minnesota, but I still feel pretty good because I don't think UNC is very good this year.
Well, it took a little bit of a hit. Also, I mean, to Max Johnson being gone for the year is a good thing for you.
Yeah, I know it does. Yeah, well, I'm saying, but them getting the win against Minnesota took a little bit of a hit. But I mean, I don't think
hilarious.
I don't think Max Johnson was playing all that well anyway. So I don't think.
Still, he just had so many more starts than everybody. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Regaining one offensive lineman, Charlotte is. Yeah. No, I'll fade them right now. We got to fade them. Next, we go to the Glass Bowl. The series that goes back to 1983. The UMass Minutemen, Don Brown catching 20 at the Glass Bowl. Over under set at 51.5. I will take Don Brown to cover the 20. All right. They're going to lose by 16, 17, 14, 12. They actually played them really close a year ago, I believe, when I was doing the Toledo podcast. Shout out to my guy, Dan Savage, who was a big, I mean, I believe the basketball stadium is named after his grandfather. He's terrified. He thinks they're going to win because this is the sneaky one. This is the sneaky one. That's why I'm taking UMass in the points.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm curious as to what Duquesne did last year. I think that weren't they a pretty decent squad?
Yeah, I think 2 years ago they were a playoff team. Last year I think they were all right.
I'm gonna get that pulled up in just a second. But either way, 7-5 last year, so not that good, but still a respectable win. And they completely crushed them. Final score 49-10. UMass getting dominated by a bad Eastern Michigan team is a little concerning for UMass. That I think Toledo is going to cover this. It's only 20. Yeah, give me the Rockets.
NC Nick.
I tend to agree with Patty C. I liked what I saw from Tucker Gleason taking over from Daquan Finn. They're not missing a beat. They lost a lot, but it seems like that offense is just cranking. It's next man up. So I'll lay the points with Toledo.
Next, we're going to College Park, Maryland, in a series that goes back to 1944. Michigan State. Yeah, and shout out to everyone watching this on YouTube right now. Hit that like and subscribe button if you can. Michigan State is catching 8.5 in Bird Stadium there. The total at 44.5. I struggle with this, man. Aiden Childs didn't look as good as I thought he could.
He looked like shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't. That's one way of putting it.
Don't put it nicely. He looked awful.
What the hell did he do to you? Good God. What, did he take your money at a pool hall in fucking Asheville one weekend? What the hell
I'm
happened?
just being honest. I got nothing against the guy. I still think
good God.
Negative energy.
Good God. Like that piece of shit.
you put it so politically. Like he didn't look as good as like he looked awful. Call it like it is.
Yeah, but you just said it like really vulgar, like with meaning behind it. Like I hope he dies in a forest fire, right? Like that piece of shit. I hope he gets herpes. Anyway, give me Sparty in the points. I'm not buying into Maryland just because it won a foo game against UConn. Give me Sparty in the points, but no lock here at all. NC Nick, what are you doing here in College Park?
You know what? Maybe I'll regret it, but it's a small sample size. But I'm kind of buying into Maryland. We knew they were going to have a pretty strong defense this year. Billy Edwards, the quarterback, he looked the part. No,
he was doing that cockanimi slide. You know I can't take that either.
I don't care about that, but I'm going to take Maryland. I'm going to lay the points. I'm gonna lock it up. I don't like what I saw from Sparty. They were fortunate to win that game against.
They were fortunate.
Probably an average to bad FAU squad.
For what Colby mentioned about the QB slide, I mean, Michigan State literally took 3 of those penalties, 15-yarders against FAU. They had over 100 yards penalty yards.
And those guys all got kicked out of the game. So you're going to see a different defense.
That's true. We'll see if Jonathan Smith coaches against that in the upcoming week, or else Billy Edwards is done for. But hey, the last 2 seasons, Maryland has won this game by 14 points and 22 points respectively. And last season, the 22-point win was in East Lansing. This year, coming back to Maryland, obviously. Come on, 8.5. What did you see the games last week? Both of the games. How can you not take Maryland?
Shit changes, buddy. That's why I'm taking Eastern Michigan. All right.
Oh, you locking it with me? How would you?
I'm locking it with you.
Double lock on the Terps.
Dundee.
No, I'm not locking State. No. I saw what they did to Mel Tucker. All right.
Look, I think it's your Mike Loxley. You're still locked on 10 years ago on Mike. He's a new man. 2 straight 8-5 seasons.
Buddy, I still did his preview, and I think he's 1-25 against teams with a winning record in the Big Ten.
Well, Michigan State does have a winning record, so maybe he'll take an
end of the year. At the end of the year, not when they play. But I'm taking Sparty.
Maryland's gonna dominate them. Come on,
you got a double lock from NC Nick and Patty C on these Maryland Terrapins.
What could go wrong?
You're living dangerously. Remember, I did lock up Maryland once with Mike Locksley. They lost 59-0. All right. So excuse me if I'm a little shell shocked. All right. Next up, we got one in Salt Lake City. Yes, the Baylor Bears taking on the Utah Utes. Oh, I fucked up this line on the slides there, but this line is Utah laying 14. Now I will lock this. You can bring in DeQuan Finn. You're going to Salt Lake City, boys. All right. I'm sorry, David Randa. I'm rooting for you to make it through the season. They're not covering 14 in Salt Lake City. I will lay the 14 with the Utes, and I feel like this is going to be something like 38-17. Let's go. Patty C, what are you doing here in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, I mean, Baylor did look better than last year, certainly. However, Utah looked phenomenal. Obviously, in limited throwing action, Cam Rising still produced gigantic numbers. 5 touchdown passes. So I do think them going up to altitude is going to be tough for them. 14, it's a lot if Baylor's a much better team, but still, I'm going to lean Utes.
Especially at Rice Eccles?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
We had this as the number 8 game preseason when we did our draft as in terms of games we're interested this week, despite Baylor being 3-9 last year. Are we feeling a lot better about Baylor based off that week 1?
No, because Tarleton State looked like ass against McNeese in the second half of that game. So I am not buying in. Now, look, I think Baylor, I'm on the over with Baylor at 5.5 wins, but this is a place where teams get fucked up. And I think this Utah team is loaded. I think. So
you think they're going to dominate Baylor?
I do. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I mean, yeah. I mean, is Utah at home? Yes. Am I taking Utah? Yes. It's kind of as easy as that. And no, I'm not believing Daquan Finn just yet. I'm not buying Baylor just yet. They still have to prove it to me. And like I said last week, I mean, people think Utah struggled to score the ball because they remember last year when they were on their 4th or 5th string quarterback. The year before that, they were regularly putting up 40+ points. I think they can do that again against Baylor here. So I'll take Utah.
Who's coming with me?
I'm not.
I'll come with you. Let's go.
Yeah, there we go. Let's go, Utes.
Tarleton may have been struggling against McNeese toward the end of that game, but they got out fast. Maybe they just took their foot off the gas and got conservative. Baylor smoked them 45-3. So I think that could be an indicator that Baylor is back a little bit.
There's no place in the Big 12, none, that is as toxic as Rice Eccles.
Sure, but 14 points is a lot of points.
Utah wins 41-17.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. I said 38-17. So
I'm leaning Utah, but I got it closer to like 35-20. So I got it close to that 14-point mark. I think Baylor's okay.
We'll see. We'll talk about one that I know you're excited about, Patty C. We're going to Annapolis. Temple is catching 13.5 at Navy Memorial. Over under at 43.5. I do think, dude, call me crazy. I know I cashed on Oklahoma minus 43 or 42, whatever it was. I kind of came away thinking Temple's a little bit better than I thought they were. And that is why I can be talked into a lock here. And I haven't bet this yet, but I was like, you know what? I think Temple can hang in this game. Navy and Bucknell, that game was closer for a while than it should have been. And I just feel like Temple was slightly better than I thought they would be. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Disagree. I think Temple's still on auto fade for me. Oklahoma was one of those teams where they weren't all that impressive, even though the score would tell you otherwise. Again, kind of like Ohio State. I think that's more Oklahoma and less Temple. I'll take Navy. I'll lay the points.
I'm taking the points. Patty C, what are you doing here in Annapolis?
Oklahoma was up 34-0 at half against Temple. So
I know, but they still looked better. It was like a what they get, like a block punt or something. They look better on defense.
No, I agree.
I thought.
Temple looked a little better than I thought they would. Maryland, it's we're gonna see what this offense is.
Navy
rather. Not a phenomenal output rushing wise from a team that you would think that returns to their bread and butter. Going, what is it? The single wing they're doing there?
yeah.
Only 264 rushing yards. That's not terrible, but I'd like to see more. Still, Navy was impressive enough that I think they're going to cover 2 touchdowns. 13 and a half. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go on that island and take Temple. Watch out, I might bet this one. This might be a lock at it. Next, we're going to the Plains, where the California Golden Bears are heading in to take on Hugh Strip Club Freeze and them Auburn Tigers. Auburn's laying 13.5. The over under 53.5. You wonder if Cal was just playing, doing the Hawaii thing of just saying, "Hey, let's play everybody." I got to take Auburn though. That environment's too much, man. So I will lay the 13.5. No bet, but I'm intrigued by this game. NC Nick, what are you doing here in this
I disagree.
ACC SEC matchup?
What am I supposed to be impressed because they beat Alabama A&M? 73-3.
That was the worst game. That was the worst game of the entire week.
I think this number's a little bit inflated because of that. I mean, this was 14-10 at Cal last year. I'm taking Cal. I'll take the 13.5. I saw a 14 out there, but I'll take Cal. I think this is a ball game, and I'm going to lock this up.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Let's go with my ACC Cal Bears.
Oh boy, drop acid on the Plains. Let's go,
baby.
Woo.
I mean,
I bet they do that down on the Plains a little bit too. They get down.
Yeah, you think so? They poison trees. Why not?
Yeah. Why not do some acid in some trees? Do some
I
acid.
guess those are Alabama fans, though,
Yeah.
right? But Patty C, what are you doing in this game? Because as Nick
It's
said,
the Olympics. Doesn't matter who wins because they're all losers.
what are you doing
Cal
here?
does acid up in the trees on what is that? Tightwad Hill. Yeah. Auburn just puts the acid right into the trees. Or no, that's Alabama. Like you said. Look, Cal was not very impressive against UC Davis. In fact, that was a dogfight for a lot of that game. You have to trust that Auburn completely destroying the competition that was in front of them is a good sign for Auburn. Plus, I think Jaden Ott was dinged up a little bit, so that is a major concern. Last year, obviously, Cal did probably deserve to win this game if they didn't screw it up. So that is a feather in your cap, Nick. But I do think it's a different year, and the fact that this game's in Alabama is a much different
That's the
environment.
hard thing is the environment there.
Yeah.
Brian Sanders says we're supposed to be impressed. No, but UC Davis would lay 31 against Alabama A&M. And
Right.
I'm not being sarcastic. I think that would probably be what that line would be.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it comes down. Peyton Thorne, pretty good, 13-21, 322, 15 yards per attempt.
Alabama A&M, if you don't know, folks,
They're
is one
terrible.
of the worst
They're like
FCSs.
yeah, they're worth.
Yeah.
So it's
They're
tough
like a
to
high
take
school team. They probably have a high school budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just guessing when you pick this game a little bit.
Well, let's see if you can pick this one because all off season, me and NC Nick got text messages. Actually, let me read an ad first. But oh yeah, you're gonna need to. I'm gonna wait for you. All right, trust me, I'll fucking wait for you, folks. I want to tell you, the college football experience is brought to you by Rhythm. Have you ever wanted to create your own sports betting model for football? Do you even know what a sports betting model is? Well, SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI-backed sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. The Rhythm college football models had the under in the Colorado North Dakota State game. Of course it cashed, even though there was that wacky interception off the 1 yard line off a guy's foot. A cashing is a cashing. All right. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time is now an authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And look, it's not just MLB. All right, like I said, if you're going to go, it's college football season, folks. Get yourself out to college football stadiums. I feel like a lot of the people don't even realize that college football is sitting on like 100 Wrigley Fields. They don't even realize right below, like they're out there. Cal Memorial Stadium, we just talked about, is a fucking gem. All right, maybe you're going to the Plains. I mean, Auburn Stadium is phenomenal. Jordan Hare, get out there. All right. Bust out the Game Time app. You'll get access to that. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the redeeming code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create that account, redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we are back. Patty C has been texting us. Yeah, John Daly, by the way, he's an honest guy. They ask him a question. He goes, "Look, I'm drunk."
That's like Patty C looking right into the future right there.
Patty C looking at the present right there. Let's be honest. Look, I am the resident drunk on this podcast here, so if you expect me to slam
that's
down,
why I think it was you that said you would eat that shit in a red polo.
I didn't say I'd eat it. I'd say someone could shit on my face if I lost in a game of Tech my Super Bowl. Which
no, but I'm talking about the tweets. But okay, now confess that. Anyway, folks, as we jump to the next game, Patty C has been texting us all off season. Me and NC Nick took a few texts here, and his Jacksonville State Gamecocks.
Ooh, don't fade too early.
Are catching 28 against Jeff Brom and the Louisville Cardinals.
Don't fade too early.
A real team like Coastal
28
Carolina
points.
went right into Jacksonville, Alabama. Put it to them.
A pretty good team. A pretty good team in Coastal Carolina. I'll give them credit. Let me say this. Logan Smothers was the starting quarterback. What did he manage? 61 passing yards on 13 attempts.
You don't need to tell me. He was my DFS quarterback. He was shit.
Presumably, Tyler Huff steps in. 14 attempts, one attempt more for 173 yards. So certainly they figured something out. They figured something out in the second half when they started scoring points in that game. Do I think they're going to beat Louisville after Louisville was amazing last week? No. 28 points is a lot. I still think I might go. Yeah, sorry, dude. Look, sometimes that should tell you how much you should listen to what I'm saying right now. But I think Jacksonville State may have. They still don't have their guy. Rich Rod, if you don't have a 4-2 guy, that offense isn't what it's supposed to be. And let's be honest, Logan Smothers and Tyler Huff, the skin ain't dark enough. I'm just gonna say it.
So you're on Louisville then? After all that talk?
No. I'm gonna say Jacksonville State covers, just because they're my guys. But do I really believe that? I'm not sure. Louisville looked really good last week.
I do wonder if Louisville is going to call off the dogs a little bit because Georgia Tech's on deck, right? So give me if you're getting more than 28, I think you got to take Jacksonville State. 28 or more. I'd see Louisville like 56 to, I don't know. I could see Jacksonville State getting some garbage touchdowns. I'll take the 28, but I think Louisville's definitely going to score. That Jacksonville State defense did not look very good.
How was Austin P last year?
They were good, but they lost their coach. He left. Scotty Walden left for UTEP. So
62-0 though against a pretty decent program usually in Austin P. Right? Not great, but at least mediocre in the FCS ranks. Still to completely dominate. That means Louisville is rolling. It's tough. This is not an easy game to pick.
Eric got Louisville minus 21.5 on Monday.
That you lock.
Yeah.
That you lock.
NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I'm not going to name names, but I think some people glossed over all that Jacksonville State lost. I mean, Zion Webb, yes, but also they lost a lot. They had
defensive coordinator to Oklahoma. They look pretty and good.
Players. I mean, returning starters, and yes, and Rich Rod, you trusted. But you know what? A coach can only do so much. You also need some players. This might be a little bit of a rebuilding season for the Cox. I will go Louisville. I'll lay the big number.
There we go. Next.
You know who it was though? I was trying to think about it a few years ago. It was Stephen Threet that first year from Michigan.
Yeah.
And then I'm still drawing a blank on the little skinny guy. God, I just had it at the tip of my tongue. Tate Forcier. You know, so with these little white scrub quarterbacks, that system doesn't go. But when you get that Denard Robinson in there, finally, when you get that Pat White, Rich Rod, and who is the guy at Arizona? That
Khalil Tate.
Yeah. When you get those guys in there, that offense obviously goes. They don't have it yet, so it doesn't look like unless they pull a receiver, because wasn't that what Tate was before? Khalil Tate.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
What are you guys texting?
Noah in the chat is cracking me up.
I don't know.
Shane is also cracking me up. Look, we got the Battle of I-35 happening. This is why the new 12-team playoff is so much better than that 14 bullshit. Is a game like this is fucking gigantic. Texas State did not look great against Lamar, but I do wonder if they were doing like Hawaii did against Delaware State, where they kept it vanilla because they knew they had a pivotal rivalry game. And not only is this game huge just because of it's a rivalry game, it's huge because you might be battling UTSA for the 12-team playoff spot. Texas State's laying 1.5 in San Marcos. The Battle of I-35. NC Nick, And by the way, this game goes back to 2012, but this has been a rivalry between universities for like basketball and every other thing else for eons and eons. But NC Nick, how concerned should we be about Texas State's performance against Lamar?
I do chalk it up as kind of, playing it safe, and also as kind of a look ahead game because let's face it, I mean, UTSA is where Texas State wants to be. They want to be the best G5 team in the state. So maybe. And it was Jordan McLeod's first game at Texas State. And let's face it, UTSA did not look very good against Kennesaw. And I haven't seen UTSA play good football without Frank Harris at quarterback. And my boy ELM, Eddie Lee Marburger, did not get the start. It was Owen McCown. So I'm all over Texas State here.
I'm on Texas State too. I think they've been waiting for this. They've been building for this. I can't wait to watch this game. I think this is one of the best games the entire Saturday. As this, like I said, this would be a game that would be irrelevant before in the 4-team playoff. As much as we like college football and say, okay, it's a battle of I-35. I think now it's so much fucking more meaningful that I have to center my day around this game.
Well, regardless of whether either of these teams makes or is in the conversation at the end of the year, the fact that both of them are probably going to be on the upper echelon of their conference for the Group of 5 playoff spot.
Yeah, makes it huge.
Their conferences are. How has the Sun Belt versus the American? How have they done against each other head to head yet? Have they played?
Yeah, JMU just beat Charlotte.
That's true. Yeah, Charlotte. I forget where they. I mean, there's still so much movement. I have a hard time remembering.
Yeah.
But feather in their cap.
Saturdays are for cocks. There you go. YouTube.com/The College Experience. I'm on Texas State too. Patty C, what are you doing here?
Oh, Texas State is favored. They are the home team. Look, that wasn't a very impressive performance by Texas State. I do know. I mean, Jordan McLeod, I don't think he's going to get a whole lot better than 21 or 30. That's pretty much, what you should expect. I guess that offense can go a little more, so maybe they take a step forward. But still, I think UTSA is the better team, so they're going to get it done on the road. Money line.
All right, there you go. I'm not betting this. Nick, you're not betting this, right?
I was tempted, but I'm gonna hold off for now.
Yeah. All right, let's jump to the next one. We got Derek Mason, Middle Tennessee. I cashed on Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech stayed in that game with Middle Tennessee. Cashed that like I tried to bring you guys along. Sorry you guys didn't have the guts and the courage to. This is a series that goes back to 2001. They're heading to the Grove to take on Ole Miss. Ole Miss lay at 41. The over-under at 63.5. I'll lay the 41. Middle Tennessee's ass. It's going to be a transitional year. Mason might work out long-term, but not right now. Ole Miss rolls. Middle Tennessee is a bottom 10 team to me in the FBS. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I suppose I'm going to take the points here. I mean, can Ole Miss just steamroll 2 opponents back to back in consecutive weeks? I think maybe they take it a little bit easy this time.
This is Lane Kiffin we're talking about. 76-0 against Furman. I mean, Middle Tennessee.
I think Furman would beat Middle Tennessee if they played.
Wow. Bold statement.
I really do.
What was Furman last year? Were they
FC? They're a playoff team.
They're a playoff team. Okay, man. Maybe you got a point there. Then if obviously Ole Miss had 76-0 against Furman, and you think Middle Tennessee is worse than Furman, I'll roll Ole Miss, and especially because it's at home, they'll get hyped up again. So let's go Rebels.
All right, moving along the lines to wow, Marshall beat Virginia Tech last year in Marshall. This is a series that goes back to 1913. Hokies are laying 20 after Diego pissed all over their face. Diego Pavia. Look, I just can't do it. I the same points I made about Virginia Tech. They didn't beat any teams with a winning record last season, except the bowl game with like 30 guys and their coach out for Tulane. I put no merit in that. If anything, Brent Pry, his only 2 wins against teams with a winning record were Tulane without their coach and Liberty, the final game of the season when Hugh Strip Club Freeze had already taken the Auburn job. He hasn't beaten teams that can win. Now the question is Marshall a winning team? I think they are. I'm taking the 20 points in Marshall. Another thing is Brent Pry needs to prove to me he can coach. He's 1-9 in 1-score games. Give me the herd and the points. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, a lot of it comes down to Drones' health. I'm assuming he's okay. I'm assuming he's fine. And if so, the one thing Virginia Tech did do well at the second half of last year was they beat the average to bad teams pretty decisively. I mean, they beat like Wake Forest 30-13. They beat Syracuse 38-10. beat Boston College 48-22, beat UVA 55-17. If Drones is healthy, I think they bounce back, and I think they put it on Marshall. I'll lay the number.
Nah, I mean, that's a big if. You don't know that right now. So.
Well, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, so I'm not going to touch this, but
He's
right
healthy.
now
I'm seeing cramps.
It
I
didn't
heard
look
this
like
too.
cramps. It looked like his hand. Unless
he brought him back in overtime.
Yeah,
so
but he kept having to go out.
Patty C, you never had hand cramps? I find that hard to believe.
That's true. Yeah, 11 o'clock every night. Some serious cramping. Look, I don't know. I think you have to be. Let's be honest with what happened with Virginia Tech. They did come back. They did dominate at a point when they needed to. I thought they, for that stretch of the game, were certainly the better team. However, I thought they were giving their best effort for the other parts.
I don't think they were the better team in that
throughout
matchup.
the whole game. I don't think so. I think it was a fair assessment of what happened or the quality of those two teams. But still, when they needed to, that's usually when you could tell the real quality of a team is when it comes down to it. Can they make that comeback? Not only did they come back from 14 down, they took the lead and then they fucked it up at the end. If they didn't screw around for the first half of the football game, then maybe they win that game. But 20 points is too much for a Marshall team that looked pretty good week one and a quarterback for Virginia Tech that might not even be playing.
No, he's playing, I think.
Well, he might not be in the game.
20 is too much. This is kind of like a low key rivalry game too, I feel like. So yeah, let's go. Let's jump on over to the MAC. Ohio is catching 1.5 at home against Major Applewhite in South Alabama. Look, I thought Parker, Navarro, and Ohio were a bit better than I thought they would be. Give me the Bobcats to win at home against the South Alabama team that frankly looked like shit last week. So, NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I'm with you. There's magic in Athens, Ohio. I will take the Bobcats. I think, I mean, they looked a lot better than I expected, considering what they lost in the portal into graduation. They hung with Syracuse for a long time. I think that gives them confidence this week going back home and playing a G5 opponent. Let's go Bobcats.
Patty?
Look, 14-point loss against North Texas, who you guys were pretty high on for South Alabama to lose to North Texas. 16-point loss against Syracuse, who we didn't know what to expect from. I don't think I'm as convinced one way or another that one team had an impressive performance and another team didn't. So South Alabama being dogs by 1.5 or being favored by 1.5. I do have to take Ohio at home to cover that.
Yeah, there we go. Next up, we got a barn burner in a series that goes back to 1934. My East Carolina Pirates are heading into SB Ballard Stadium. Take on these Old Dominion Monarchs who just got robbed of a win.
This is a good game now.
It's a great game, but I'll tell you, this is an easy play, guys. I mean, it is a good game, but
honestly, based on last week, this could have Group of 5 college football playoff implications.
That's what I'm saying. And if you look, I know NC Nick texted that ECU cruised the victory against Norfolk State, who looked all right week 0, right? Well, the new offensive coordinator, John David Baker, who came over from Ole Miss. Get this, they were the 4th fastest team as far as getting plays in. Fourth fastest team in the nation.
That's a stat.
They turned the ball over. They turned the ball over 6 times against Norfolk State, but still scored 42 points. Boom.
That's not a good stat.
It is a good stat because it's a brand new offense.
Maybe slow down a little bit.
And you know what's happening here. Lock it up. I've already bet this. They just got their hearts broken too, and they come back home. Be the same. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, I suppose Colby could sell a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves because he also sold me on ECU this year, and I guess I'll ride the Pirates here. I think everybody's seeing ODU and what they did versus South Carolina, and they're almost assuming that they're going to win. Not so fast.
Yeah, this one's really tough to choose because East Carolina was impressive and they were dominant throughout the course of that game. However, Old Dominion probably should have won if Grant Wilson doesn't.
True. But that's even better. It's the heartbreak. And go get yourself a We Believe T-shirt on SGPN store. All right, get the SGPN app free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store, or go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com. You can get that We Believe shirt and wrap it around town, and you will be getting ass everywhere.
Yeah, play that. That should be your love track right there.
Oh yeah.
That sack starts going, the panties start dropping.
It is, man. What are you doing here, buddy?
Dude, Old Dominion looked pretty good last week. So it's tough, especially when they're at home. I mean, Williams-Brice is not an easy place to play, and they kind of went in there and handled business. ECU did look really good, though. God, I don't know. I'm going to lean ECU with you guys.
Oh, there we go. Lock it up.
Jake Garcia, though, 3 interceptions.
He likes to throw it around a little bit.
Old Dominion, South Carolina, Lenora Sellers was only 10 of 23. So maybe ODU has a pretty good pass defense, and Jake Garcia has 5 interceptions.
All I know is they had that South Carolina circled. That's a crushing defeat. You come back home, you're taking on ECU. They say, 2-win team a year ago. Pirates going to come in there and whoop that ass.
I'm with you.
All right, next up, we're going to the airport, Pitbull Stadium. This is the first game at Pitbull Stadium. The Chips, fire up Chips, are heading in there. Central Michigan laid 6.5, over under at 51.5. Too many points. Mike McIntyre and FIU are a little bit better. People realize just because you whoop Central Connecticut State's ass, I'm supposed to buy something. But no. The airport, Pitbull Stadium, it's going to be rocking. They're going to have that Pitbull vodka going. I forget what it's called, but get yourself some if you're going to the game. NC Nick, what are you doing here at the airport?
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, the other thing I'd mention is the heat and humidity of South Florida this time of the year. Central Michigan might not be ready for that, so give me the points. Home dog.
Patty?
No. So Central Michigan just won by 56
Against
points.
Central Connecticut
Florida
State.
Atlantic just
The
lost
fake
by
Blue
24.
Devils?
Florida Atlantic, Florida International.
Florida International just lost by 24.
This is the Pitbull Stadium opening. Are you kidding me?
Dude, there's probably going to be like 7 people there. They're all going to be on ecstasy.
No. Have you seen a Pitbull concert in South Florida? That shit sells,
That's
buddy.
true. Is he playing?
You're goddamn right. It's his stadium. All right?
If he's doing
He's
the
playing
halftime
every
show,
goddamn game. All right.
Oh, let me FIU with the second half cover.
Oh yeah,
I'll call that.
They're winning on the money.
They're getting juiced.
They're winning
up.
on the money. We got a live dog here.
No, Central Michigan.
We got a live dog here.
Central Michigan and lock it up, please.
Oh my god,
please.
He's locking it,
dude.
This
I don't
Jim
care
McElwain's
how
lost
bad
son.
Central Connecticut is.
What the fuck is this?
Right?
66-10, and then Florida Atlantic gets stomped.
He didn't even know Central Connecticut State had a team.
Dude, you guys talk about how it's so hard for a new coach to win. Yada yada yada. Indiana has new coach, new players, and they come in and they dominate this team. and now the script flips.
I'm surprised you have a strong play on this game.
Yeah, good luck fading Pitbull Stadium,
dude. There is
I thought you liked fun.
A score discrepancy of 80 points between the two teams.
Whatever.
Oh, look at this Pitbull Stadium. Look at this. Are you kidding? You're gonna get a free pin? Of course they're gonna be out there.
Free pin.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pitbull.
Don't you collect those, Patty C?
Yes. Lots of pins.
Oh boy. Next up, the only golden one on here. The first matchup. We just rode these Sam Houston State Bearcats. What was that? What was that? Plus? It was almost
14?
plus 4.
No,
yeah.
plus 10, right?
That was a nice play.
No. The money line play though. I'm saying we played the money line. It was like plus 380 or something. I forget. Anyway,
it's a real nice play.
They're catching 21 at the moon bounce. What's that over under? What did I say there? 58.5. The very Golden Knights are not covering this. Central Florida, they got a little. They didn't look so great. They gotta fine tune that offense. I was not that impressed, even though we did cover against New Hampshire. I think Sam Houston's defense can pose some problems. Give me the points. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Oh, I've already planted a flag in San Marcos and said Sam Houston's one of my dark horse teams. I think I had him winning the CUSA, so I will take the points. I don't feel great about it, obviously, just due to the level of competition, but I do like them this year. I think they'll cover.
Patty C?
Like to see a little more out of KJ Jefferson, only 7 of 14. Threw a pick, a little concerning if you've got a big spread like that. Meanwhile, Sam Houston did great against a Rice team that, we all thought was going to be decent with EJ Warner at the helm. I think it is too many points, so I'm going to go Sam Houston.
Let's go.
But let's be honest, 57 points by UCF, that ain't nothing to sneeze at, so we'll see.
True. Next we go to Jonesboro. Arkansas State's laying 7. Arkansas State won on complete bullshit last week. They should have lost to Central Arkansas. It was a drop touchdown in the end zone. If you did not catch this, the Sun Belt's already issued an apology. It was a clear drop. Even on review,
they overturned the call and got it wrong. Right? That's what happened. Idiots.
Get this. You catch that first Tulsa game that me and NC Nick are just. We got our season tickets. Tulsa King comes out next week too. Super excited about that. Tulsa's winning this on the money line, guys. Keep your 7 points. Tulsa's gonna fuck them up. Tulsa's offense is gonna move the rock. Give me the Golden Hurricane at the Centennial Bank, whatever. Don't go chasing waterfalls, right? They got waterfalls at this stadium. All right. Tulsa's going in there. That fire ass. They got to bring back that mascot. Yeah, look at this. This is such a crock of shit. Can we play this? Look at this. They said this was a touchdown. Wait, hold on. You gotta go. Can we go slower? Just because the ball clearly hits the ground. You gotta. I don't know. It's tough to do it quickly because the ball definitely hits the ground. You gotta at TCE on SGPN. Like it misses him completely. Like it's a horrible call.
They called it incomplete on the field. They overturned it to a touchdown.
Yeah, and then you look at that view and it's like it just goes right off the ground. And you're just like, what? Nick, are you locking Tulsa with me?
You know I'm with you, man. I really like Wilson as coach. I like Kirk Francis, the young quarterback there. Some of the weapons he has, like Camden Benjamin at receiver. I kind of like Tulsa this year, and I agree that they're going to cover. And money line play might be in the cards as well. Let's go, lock it up.
Money line play and lock it up. I have a long lobby that this should be the rivalry game to close the season. Arkansas, Oklahoma. This should be the final game of the season every year. I know they're in different conferences. Who cares? Play this one, final game every year. Tulsa's going to win that thing.
Until Oral Roberts gets a football team, I agree.
Yeah, that's true. I'm waiting for Oral Roberts. Bob Roberts, what the hell are you guys doing? Patty C, what are you doing here in Jonesboro?
Bob Roberts. That's a pull. Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm tempted to lock Central Arkansas last year, 7-4. So I guess that was a decent win for Arkansas State, even though it was close, if you can call it a win. However, Tulsa with complete dominance. Kirk Francis, great passing game, almost 300 passing yards, 4 touchdowns.
Steve Spurrier Jr. is the OC there.
Boom. Say no more.
Could he be the next Florida Gator head coach? Please let Tulsa win the AAC.
And Tulsa's the Dogs? Yeah, let's lock it.
Let's lock
triple lock.
Triple lock. Let's go. Where the hell is my triple lock music? Somewhere on this soundboard.
If they fired Napier and brought Spurrier in,
it'd be fantastic.
That would be fucking amazing.
Triple lock with the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. You can get 7.5 on FanDuel, says Brian. Shout out to Brian. All right, next we move along to a good one here. San Jose State heading to Colorado Springs to take on Air Force. This is when the California boys want to catch them. They don't want to go up there when it gets too cold.
It's still going to be high elevation.
San Jose State's a little bit ahead of schedule to where I thought they would be.
Really?
Yeah, that game against Sac State.
Yeah, I guess they. Well, I thought that game was closer for some reason. They ended
up Sac State went up early, so I mean, you kind of give San Jose State credit. They owned the second half, especially the fourth quarter.
I'm taking San Jose State plus the points. Air Force. Look, I covered with what was it, Merrimack last week. They don't look like they're there yet. Give me the points in San Jose State. This isn't a crazy money line play either because Niamontololo has lots of experience going up against the option.
And a couple extra days since they played Thursday night. So I agree, man. I like San Jose State here.
Again, I'd have to go back and see how good Merrimack was, but a 21-6 point is 21-6 victory isn't a ringing endorsement for Air Force Week 1, especially with all the offseason stuff. We thought they weren't going to be that great. So sure, I'll lean San Jose State to cover the 6.5.
Yeah, let's go. I got a big one here for you.
I like it.
Wow.
Kennesaw State, this is their home opener. They played UTSA really well last week. This is their home opener in the FBS. I am locking them, and I'm also taking them on the money line. And may I throw out an Eastern Michigan, Tulsa, Kennesaw State, round robin money line play. Let's go. NC Nick, you coming with? It sounds like you're sold.
I mean, I'm definitely on the Kennesaw side. I wasn't planning on locking it up, But you're telling me I get a home dog? I get more than 2 touchdowns?
Their home opener, too? And that's what I'm saying. Let's go.
Sold.
They're going to win this thing. This Mike Devereaux shit out of here. All right.
I mean, I feel like you guys just got through telling me that you weren't too impressed with UTSA, and yet
I didn't say that.
Because of Kennesaw.
Yeah. I took Kennesaw on the points against UTSA.
Well, what was the final in that game? Kennesaw lost by 12 points. Meanwhile, Louisiana handled Grambling. Granted, it's Grambling.
Yeah, new coach too for Grambling, so it's like, how much you putting into that?
Still, yeah, I agree with you. That's too many points, and the hook. Yeah, let's go Kennesaw.
Man, it's the home opener in the FBS. They're gonna be ready for this. Come on, let's go. Next up, we go to Columbia, Missouri, where the Buffalo Bulls are catching 34.5. Missouri looked good, but Murray State was ass in the FCS really for the past decade. Pete Lembo, impressive first performance at Buffalo. Give me the points in the Bulls. This is one of 3 Northeast challenges for Missouri, as they have Boston College and UMass to go.
That's right. Wow. That's right.
Give me the Bulls to cover this. Nick?
I guess I'll go Missouri here. I don't feel great about it. I mean, it's not a ball game. Missouri wins anywhere between 30 and 40. I guess I'll take the Tigers.
Patty?
Missouri called off the dogs. Granted, Buffalo did all right week 1, putting 30 on the board, but Missouri 28 points in the fourth quarter and not more than 10 in any other quarter. So I think if Missouri needs to flex, they have that capability. Still 34.5 is a lot against a Buffalo team that did pretty well last week. So I guess I'll lean Buffalo. Don't feel good about it though.
Yeah. Next up, we got one that goes back to 1889. The Wahoos of Virginia heading to Winston-Salem. Take on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. Dave Clawson took a little while to get warmed up, but once Bachmeier got it going, they flushed the toilet on North Carolina A&T. Wake's lay at 2.5. Virginia though looked pretty damn good against Richmond. I'm trusting the better coach here. Give me Dave Clawson and Wake minus 2.5. NC Nick, what are you doing here in this ACC Classic?
I disagree. I'm going to go UVA. I think it was a smart decision to start Calandria. UVA has a higher ceiling with Calandria over Musket. He looked good. I mean, granted, it was just against Richmond, but he threw for 300 or so. Ran for 50 yards. 3 total touchdowns, I think. And the key thing: 0 turnovers. As long as he can, reel in those picks, I think Virginia could be a little bit better than some people like old Pick Dundee thinks.
Oh, please!
And they'll start by winning on the road against
There's
Wake.
a reason why Richmond's joining the Patriot League. They're not focusing on football anymore. And Patty C's milking this Virginia. Looks like they got Herman Moore back playing wideout for them. No, Patty, who are you taking? You're locking this?
Last year, you tried to tell me that they didn't have any talent. Malik Washington ends up being like on the Heisman or the Blitnikoff finalist list.
Fred
Blitnikoff. He's like set an ACC
They're just throwing names
all-time
up
record.
on there.
Yeah. Look, Tony Elliott is starting to bring in weapons. They were super explosive last week, granted against Richmond, but right out the gates they were explosive, and they kind of dialed it back in the second half after the rain delay, so they weren't as explosive later on. However, Wake Forest did look pretty good. 2.5. I almost want to favor Wake, but I think 2.5 is even too much. So I'm going to lean UVA, but I think Vegas has it about right.
Yeah, we have the SGP show following next, but yeah, I mean, we're in the trenches here. We got to get through these games. We started later than normal. Anyway, next up, no locks there. No ACC locks.
No.
Oh, please.
No. UVA Wake, no.
Next up, we jump to Bryant Denny Stadium, where the Bulls. Hey, they gave them a game a season ago there at Raymond James.
Alabama's going to remember that.
Bama's laying 31. The over/under set at 63.5. Anyone want to lock Alabama with me? Because I'm going to lock it. Give me Alabama minus 31. I'm buying into Kalen DeBoer, and I think South Florida isn't that much better than. I mean, they're better than Western Kentucky, but not that much better. I think it's going to be another bloodbath.
They
coming with?
They annihilated Bethune-Cookman 48-3. I'm curious what Bethune-Cookman has been as a program, so I want to double check that real quick. And 3-8 last year, Bethune-Cookman. So
that's the program that Ed Reed coached at for like a day.
Oh yeah,
They didn't
and
clean his office.
Was trashed. That's right. No, I'm with you. I'm with Alabama and
lock this
let's
up.
Lock
this up, Nick. Follow us.
No, I'm not. I disagree.
That's because Byron Brown's from Raleigh.
Look,
he met him at a Harris Teeter. Right? You guys talked about football or some shit. What do you got going here?
I was on Bama with you last week because I was also looking to fade Western Kentucky this season. But I think it's too easy that everybody's jumping on the Bama bandwagon after that impressive performance. I mean, rightfully so. But USF is much better. USF is going to do some things this year. They got an offense that can backdoor this thing, and that's exactly what they'll do.
USF is much better than Western Kentucky. Are we sure about that?
A little bit.
Yes.
Weehawk.
It was a ball game last year.
Hang on.
In a thunderstorm.
And on the road. Bama, that was the first road game Bama's played in the non-con in about 20 years since they lost at Hawaii.
And now DeBoer is going to make them even more explosive.
Weehawk. Next week will be Wednesday, but after next week, it'll be Tuesdays. I know it's a little confusing, but it'd have to be your bull.
Go Bulls, South Florida.
lay that all day. Next up, we're going to Monroe, Louisiana. This is personal. All right. Deion said it was personal for Bryant Vincent, who was the interim head coach at UAB. They decided after a 7-6 season, you weren't good enough. Even though he'd been with the program in the Bill Clark years, waited it out. They said, hey, there's this hotshot quarterback that won a Super Bowl throwing for a cool 34 yards. Trent Dilfer. All right. So they brought in Trent Dilfer, and Bryant Vincent went to New Mexico. The offense did pretty well in New Mexico, even though they didn't win a lot of games. And now he's the new head coach of ULM. General Booty's the starting quarterback there. You can't give me 12.5 and General Booty at home. Give me ULM plus the points. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Nah, I'll lay the points. I think UAB is the better squad. I think that offense with Jacob Zeno at quarterback, Trent Dilfer, I'm not sure how good of a head coach he is, but I think he is doing some positive things with that offense, and that'll be enough to cover against a bad ULM squad.
Well,
modern day game does not impress me. It's super easy when you don't get hit as a quarterback, and when you can't reroute receivers, and when you can't hit guys across the middle. I love Tom Brady. I love Aaron Rodgers. I love these guys. It's not impressive.
Trent Dilfer.
To Tom Brady's credit, though, he also kind of jumped on.
Didn't
that.
he play in the same era as Trent Dilfer?
Plus, Trent Dilfer was never impressive unless you go back to his Fresno days.
Yeah, with Jeff Tedford. Is there? But but look, I appreciate his comments because I see his point that he's trying to make.
He's on a soapbox that he doesn't belong to be on.
But you were rerouting receivers to what, pick sixes? But give me ULM. Patty C, what are you doing here?
UAB 41, Alcorn 3, or ULM Jackson 30, Jackson State 14. I don't know which is more impressive. Jackson State presumably has some residual talent from Deion's recruiting there, so the lower margin of victory there suggests that it's I guess understandable. But so I think these teams are probably somewhat similar. Still, UAB has historically been so much better than ULM that even at home, I'm willing to lay 12.5. I'm going to go Blazers.
All righty, let's move along. We got Georgia Southern heading to Reno, the biggest little city in the world. All right, Georgia Southern's laying 2. Wrong team favored. Not buying into this Georgia Southern shit.
How? They were explosive against App State.
They gave up 6 rushing touchdowns. Did you see
Boise State.
See their run defense?
Yeah, I'm not saying their defense was good, but their offense.
I'm buying into Nevada being legit. They just won at Troy. They should have beat SMU.
All right. Well, I'm buying into both of them, but I understand what you're saying.
Well, you buy into whatever the fuck you want to buy into.
Oh, he's just hating on Georgia Southern for no reason. They just kept up with the pretty.
Well, Clay Helton is Clay Helton. All right, and they're gonna lose this game. Give me Nevada. Give me Nevada win this game. Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'll take Nevada. There's only 3 teams that are 2-0 against ATS, and Nevada's one of them. Make it 3-0. They win this.
Yeah, Nevada does look good over it through 2 games, and it's a long road trip for Georgia Southern. Give me Nevada. Georgia Southern's favored on the road?
Yep.
No way.
There we go. All right, next up, the Kansas Jayhawks going into Memorial Stadium there in Champaign in the series that goes back to 1892. Jayhawks laying 6. I had a hard time with this one.
Really?
I'm going to take the
What
points.
happened to your boys?
Well, they don't have a home stadium this year, and I just feel like feel like Illinois is flying under the radar. I'm on the over on Illinois. Kansas wins by 3. Give me the Illini to cover this. Nick, what are you doing here?
I'm not buying that. I think you can find like a 5 or a 5.5 out there. No, I'm going to go Kansas here. I'm going to take if I'm going to go with a road favorite, I'm going to go with the team with the better quarterback and the better coach. Kansas still has such a higher ceiling than the Fighting Illini do. So much more talent, so much more offensive firepower. I'm going to go Kansas. I'll lock it up.
Woo! Wow. Locking it up. NC Nick saying rock chalk. What are you meeting with Weehawk this weekend for beers?
Maybe.
Right.
IPAs.
Patty C, what are you doing here?
Let me say this. I mean, the margin of victory was exactly the same for Kansas over Lindenwood as it was for Illinois over Eastern Illinois. Eastern Illinois being an 8-3 FCS team last week, a much more impressive in that regard game for Illinois than it was for Kansas. And the game is in Champaign. However, I'm with Nick. I think Kansas is just that much better of a team than Illinois. I need to be convinced. Although last week was pretty impressive for Illinois, or this past week, but I still think Kansas has my vote. So
all right, we move along. Western Michigan's catching 1,000 points. No, 39 at the Horseshoe against Ohio State. Give me the points. No wager, Nick.
We cashed easily against Wisconsin.
They should have won that thing, man.
I swear. And I'm high on the Broncos here, but I'm actually going to go Ohio State. I think they look more impressive in week 2 than they did in week 1.
Finally get it going at the quarterback position. I am just deferring to Nick on Western Michigan, so I'll take Buckeyes.
he's a Walden
insider
specialist. Yeah. All right, moving along. We got the game in Charlotte. Gigantic game here.
This is lock of the week.
Oh man, Tennessee's laying 7.5 against NC State.
Please.
And this line has shot up. This was like, if you got the early number on this on Sunday, this was I think like 4.5. But yeah, I'll join you.
All you had to do was watch
Tennessee
NC State.
minus 7.5. Lock it up. I'm buying this NC State.
Yeah, let's hear Nick's take on this one. Sell us, Nick. Sell us on NC State.
Well, I think NC State, the timing was not there week 1. You saw, Big Bird, Grayson McCall, just a little bit off with his receivers. And if you look at his history, he's a very accurate quarterback. So it's not like his accuracy just vanished all of a sudden. It's really the timing. Again, these transfer quarterbacks in a new system, surrounded by new players, new everything. It's going to take him. The week 1 is going to be a little bit of a struggle. Week 2, you're going to see some improvement. And that's what you're going to see here. You're going to see the NC State defense improve. The offense is going to click more. I don't know if they're going to win, but I'm going to take NC State to cover.
Oh my gosh, please. Look, he doesn't piss teal anymore. He lost that ability. It did vanish. Yeah, I'm locking this. Give me Tennessee. They're going to roll. NC State's counterfeit this year. Patty C, double lock with me?
Yeah, I'll lock it.
Double lock. Let's go Vols.
I know. To Nick's point, Grayson McCall career 69.7% completion percentage. Maybe
when he was pissing teal.
That's right.
Now he's pissing.
He's down to 65 through one game. But yeah, I mean, still, it's just Tennessee is so explosive that you can't expect NC State to keep up.
It's a series that goes back to 1893. Playing that one in Charlotte,
and they don't even get the home field.
Can't we do a home and home? You filthy animals. Yeah. Anyway. Then we got a big one here.
Yeah, but
all right, we got a big one here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Old school rivalry that these TV execs stole from us goes back to 1898. Buffs have won, I think, 3 or 4 in a row. I think definitely 3 in a row. I can recall, maybe 4. Nebraska's laying 7.5. We had one of Nebraska's players too saying that Dylan Raiola is better than Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders doesn't have the capability to do that. To do what Dylan Raiola could do on the field, which is why you know what I'm doing here. This line never made any sense to me. The look ahead line never made any sense to me. Colorado's a better team than Nebraska. Let's go. Give me the Buffs. Lock it up. Let's go. Money line. Patty, what are you doing here?
Look, preseason, I thought in Colorado's first 3 games, they might lose 2 of them. And I thought it kind of would go like this, where they beat NDSU and then lose to Nebraska and then lose to Colorado State. So far, I think Colorado is better than all of these teams. So even on the road against Nebraska, 7.5 is way too many. I don't know if they're going to money line it, but I got to take the Buffs on the points.
NC Nick, what are you doing here in Lincoln?
I agree. It's too much. I mean, can I see Nebraska play well against a good team before they lay more than a touchdown? So they looked good against UTEP, in first game with the first new head coach for the Miners. The fact that this is more than a touchdown, I think is kind of crazy because Colorado can score, and Colorado is still not a complete team. In the second half last week, they started playing a little bit better defense, a little bit better. But I think it's too many points because the Colorado can score a touchdown on basically any play. So give me the Buffs.
Shadur,
lock it up with me.
26-34.
Lock it up with me.
That's a great stat line.
Lock it up with me. This is a win.
Nebraska could just flex on them. Look,
but Nebraska, they haven't been fucking relevant. They're the longest bowl drought in fucking.
It's still a hard place to play, and we're gonna take anything you have to say about this game with a grain of salt.
When's the last time they won a close game?
Good point.
Let's go. Prove that to me. All right. Maybe Matt Rhule does. He's a proven good coach before. Maybe he does, but I'm taking the better quarterback and the better talent. Let's go. All right. Next up, let's go to.
Real quick, anyone who's saying that it's a Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter are the only weapons, dude. Jimmy Horn is a freaking weapon,
dude. LaJohntay Wester had over 100 catches last year.
I can't believe people especially in the college fantasy football, they were totally looking over Horn. They were like, yeah. Shepard from Vandy's going to come in. Wester's going to come in. I'm like, Jimmy Horn was pretty good last year. I think he'll be pretty good this year too.
7 catches, 198 yards. A decent game.
Yeah,
a decent game.
I drafted him very late in a lot of best ball leagues, and that paid dividends week 1.
Well, Colorado has one of the best wideout rooms in the whole entire fucking country. Yeah. They have a top 5 wideout room in the country. It's going to be fascinating to watch though, because I do think Nebraska's strength is their defense. So it's going to be fun.
Great game.
All right, Houston's catching 30 at Oklahoma.
Fade Houston.
I can't take Houston either. I'm taking Fritz though. Give me the 30. Give me the 30. No lock. What are you doing here, Patty? You're locking this?
You probably should. What is it? They lost 20 to UNLV.
This is strictly just me hoping Fritz gets it done. I don't feel good about this. I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole.
They lost to UNLV by 20 at home. Now they got to go to Norman, and they're only getting 30. Please,
Nick.
Oh yeah, I took Houston last week. That's not gonna happen for a long time. Oklahoma.
Fritz will get it going eventually, but year 2.
Yeah. Appalachian State's heading into Clemson.
Here we
South Carolina, Death Valley. Clemson's laying 18. Over under set at 52.5. I'm taking the points, man. I can't just take Clemson to roll. Give me the points.
What question is that? Of course you're taking the points.
Like even App's losses, like Penn State overtime. Miami makes a last-second field goal. Tennessee overtime, and that game had no business. Tennessee had no business winning that game. App's kicker missed like 4 field goals. I'm taking App in the points every time as a dog, especially when I watched that Clemson offense last week. Yeah. There's no way I'm not taking App.
Although it is against Georgia.
Still.
And Florida State went 13-0 last year and only put up 3 against that Georgia defense. So
come on, you're quoting that game. You've quoted that game a couple times. That is bullshit.
Okay,
dude.
Fair enough. But it's not like Georgia doesn't do that against most of their decent opponents. I guess Missouri was able to get off on them a little bit. Alabama too, but still Georgia dominant defense. But you're right. Clemson offensively needs to prove more if they're gonna cover 18. So I'm gonna go with you guys. I'm with App.
You locking this, Nick?
Of course I'm locking this. Is that a question? Let's go, App State.
NC Nick locking up the Mountaineers of Appalachian State.
Give me the points, and yes, sprinkle the money line.
This is the kind of game App State does typically win.
That's fucking a great game.
Yeah, have you watched them for the last 15 years?
How do you think Clemson responds to that Georgia loss, though?
Well, with some conservative offense,
App dominated ETSU, but ETSU was only 3-8 the year before, 38-10. What
do you mean dominated? I cashed on ETSU in the points, and you made fun of me for that pick. So
what was the number on that?
34.5.
Okay, good job.
Cash that thing.
Good pick. Okay,
that was the one we argued about, 35 or 34.5.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we got. This is a game right here. You see the bobblehead right here. All right, honoring the great. I'm wearing the Washington State sweatshirt here. You know why? Because they're honoring Mike Leach. You see the swing your sword graphic there.
Boom.
Yes, he's being inducted into the Washington State Hall of Fame.
Boom.
His family's going to be there. And Texas Tech, if you're going to make the trip all the way to Pullman, why don't you pay the fucking family the money he's owed? You filthy whores. Washington State. Give me Washington State +2 all day here. They're going to get it done. What were you going to say, buddy? I'm sorry.
I'm with you. I think Diego Pavia kind of paid tribute to Mike Leach by stepping in week 1 and, dominating the SEC.
Just like Leach did, right? Broke the passing record in game 1. It took one game for Mike Leach to destroy every passing record in SEC history.
Diego Pavia, SEC Player of the Week, week 1. Look, birds of a feather. Colby has a kind of
look
guy.
At that graphic with the pirate ship coming down.
Boom.
Nice.
And you owe him a bunch of money. We haven't forgot that, Texas Tech. You owe him a shit ton of money. The least you could do is give it to his family.
That's right. You owe his estate a bunch of money.
Yes. What are you doing here, NC Nick?
Oh, come on, man. I mean, Texas Tech was outgained 615 yards to 539 against, who was it? Abilene Christian?
Yeah.
Stephen F. Austin? I don't know. One of these FCS Texas schools. I like
those are rivals. They'll get you. That will get you some trouble there.
I don't think so. I doubt if I have any DMs about Abilene Christian or Stephen F. Austin or John C. Riley.
But next time you go get a Texas pulled pork sandwich when you're in the great state of Texas, you might have some balls and shaft rubbed on it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, buddy.
Good Lord.
If I can get back to my point in this game, I thought the new quarterback for Wazoo, John Mateer, looked pretty damn good. So I'm riding the Cougars, man. Let's go.
Woo!
Yeah, dropped 70, man. That was impressive.
70 on a 5-6 Portland State team from last year.
But they're supposed to be good this year.
Okay, still, just on principle alone, we're rolling Wazoo.
Yeah, let's go. All right, next up. Oh, guess what? Oregon looked like shit. Were they playing hooky, by the way? Were they playing hooky on that performance against Idaho?
No.
Because now they're playing the real Idaho, and that's Boise State. All right, and I can't help but think that this is going to be more of a game than we realize. I originally was ready to take the Ducks minus the points. I was like, I think it's a bad spot. Oregon's never beaten Boise State. They're 0-3 all time.
How many of those games were in Eugene?
I think one.
Only one was
one
in
of those
Eugene?
three. I think the other were bowl games. Oh no, one was
They
in
went to
Boise
the Smurf Turf
when the
one.
guy got punched in the face,
Yeah.
right? And then the other was a bowl game in Vegas. I got to take the points right now though because of the uncertainty.
Dude, this was a 7-point game with under 6 minutes in the game against Idaho last week. That's not being conservative. You don't be that conservative if you're worried about Boise State. You're trying to win impressively in week 1.
Yeah, and Ashton GT had 6 touchdowns. Give me Boise in the points. Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I got to go Boise just because I want to root for them. I thought coming into the year they were going to have the strongest defense in the Mountain West, and last week did not look very good defensively for the Broncos. So that's why I'm not going to actually bet it. I'm just going to sit back and hope Boise poise it out. But I think they can cover.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not betting it either. This is a heart play. This is like App against Clemson for me.
I don't know why it's a heart play. I mean, I guess we have what was Oregon's quarterback situation last week? Dylan Gabriel, 41 of 49, 380 yards. That's an amazing stat line. How is that possible? Okay, that's hard to predict. Still, too many points. Give me Boise.
All right, the Flamin' Libs are heading to Las Cruces, laying 22.5. Lock. I think New Mexico State's ass. I watched them squeak by SEMO, Southeast Missouri. I think Liberty did look bad against Campbell, but I think they're getting ready for this. This is a conference game too. It matters. I'm laying the 22.5. I believe this line came down too. I think you could find a 21.5 out there. Nick, what are you doing here?
I'll lay it also. I think again, like some of the other big favorites in week 1 that didn't look all that great. The opening week, I think they look better week 2, and I think Liberty steamrolls them.
Patty?
You just have to trust Jamie Chadwell. But that is a lot of points. I'm going to roll New Mexico State on the road. That's a long trip. We'll go Aggies.
All right, there we go. Only a couple games left. Mississippi. We all got our futures for Arizona State to win the national championship, right? Because holy shit, Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby. You know I can't take them. Arizona State's laying 6.5. Lay it. All right.
Overreaction.
I just can't take Lebby. You know I can't stand him. Give me Arizona State. I'm not betting this game though. What are you doing here, Patty?
I'm all over Arizona State, of course. What a performance! I mean, they look phenomenal, offense, defense. So at home, long trip from Mississippi State. SEC traditionally struggles out west. Got to go Sun Devils.
All right, NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, actually, both look good week one. I mean, Mississippi State looked better than I thought, but Arizona State was playing better competition. They're at home here. No reason to fade them now. Let's go Sun Devils.
There we go. Next up, we are going to the Snapper. All right. Nobody walks into the Snapper and gets a dub. Oregon State's laying 4 on the road at San Diego State. I'm locking up San Diego State. San Diego State's going to win this outright. I was not impressed with Oregon State's home performance against Idaho State. Meanwhile, Sean Lewis and San Diego State were moving the rock. Got a live dog in the Snapper. Little yapper also. Little yapper in the Snapper? Who wants to join on this? Cincy Nick, you want a yapper in the Snapper?
You know, I like San Diego State. I think they are a live dog here, but I'm not going to bet. I won't be sleeping by the time this game kicks, so I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to bet it.
Patty?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm going to, I don't know. Oregon looked decent against Idaho State, 38-15.
No, they didn't. If you watch that game,
yeah.
they did not.
Were they struggling?
Yeah,
Were they struggling?
yeah.
Okay. Well, then San Diego State, Marquez Cooper, last week's second leading rusher with 223 yards. Glad to see them pounding the rock, get away from that sissy ball. Who was the coach that was running that?
Brady Hoke?
Brady Hoke was running sissy, going out of his way to get softer.
Yeah.
So let's go San Diego State on that alone.
All right. And final game on the slate, Utah State. Nate Drilling. Watch out for that Jerry Kill magic. He's catching 29 after USC's feeling great about themselves. Give me Utah State to cover this. I don't know. Spencer Petras is day to day. That's a good thing, right? No. Yeah, I'm not going to. Yeah, I don't know. I'll take Utah State. No bet. But Bryson Barnes is the pig farmer who happened to scorch USC a year ago with like 200 yards rushing. Remember that? So he would be the guy that would get the start at Utah State.
No, Utah State's the right play here, I think.
Yeah.
USC.
I disagree.
I
disagree. I think this is like 56-10 or something. I think the USC offense, with that little shot of confidence, what they did against LSU, that passing attack, Miller Moss looking really good. I think they put it on.
I think USC's going to win the game. 29 is just a huge number. Just a huge number. You've been partying all week.
I just feel like
making fun of Brian Kelly and his family.
His team had 13 points through 3 quarters last week. Granted, it was against LSU, but LSU's defense wasn't any good last year. I don't think USC's offense has got it fully figured out. I mean, obviously
they were moving the ball though.
Yeah,
and I think against Utah State they score more touchdowns and they run away with it.
The short week, the letdown factor. I feel like Utah State probably covers 29, but you're probably right. Don't want to touch it.
Yeah. Folks, that's our show. Look, I know the chat's asking, but we have an SGP show slated. We've been running late on everything. SportsGamblingPodcast.com has all of our picks. Get the SGPN app. It's free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. Next week, we can probably have the time to do this, but right now we're running behind. So, sorry, we're not going to be able to go around and do that. Give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. NC Nick's on Twitter at NC__NICK. Don't forget Noah Beanick on the boards at 77NB. Give him a follow as well because he's fucking killing it back there. And also check out the College Basketball Experience, College Baseball Experience, the Stadium Heads podcast going live tomorrow morning early, bright and early on the West. Till next time, folks. This is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.